Three, two, one. Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome to episode 247 of the KBMOD podcast. It is August 21st, 2016, and another one. We're all here. The gang's back in town. Brad's back from his picture-taking waterfall adventure that he went on last week. How was it, by the way? It looked fun.
It was fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about it. I mean, you that's quite a review. You sound. Was it fun, Brad?
No, it really was. You know,
Okay.
it's pretty grateful to be living somewhere so gorgeous here in the U.S. But
this is the part where you plug your Instagram. Where can they follow you?
At Hutchison15.
There you
It's
go.
at Hutchison15 everything. But yeah, it's just so nice where I live. So that's kind of what I've been doing in my free time. Is I play games or go hiking and take pictures of it. So
It's not a bad life. It's not a bad life.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, it's good to have you back, KD. You're
Hello.
here. How are you doing?
I am. I'm doing pretty good. Recently picked up a 144 hertz monitor, which for the first time I've had one. It's just a crazy good price, and yeah, I've been pretty.
It's
happy with that.
life-changing, isn't it?
Oh yeah. When I first plugged it in, and like the second I hit apply, like to switch it from 60 hertz to 144, like I know this sounds dumb, but I just remember just seeing my mouse cursor move, going, oh my god, I'm gonna play everything. I'm gonna play everything.
Yep.
That's actually the best demonstration of a 144 hertz monitor is just moving a window around on your desktop.
It's true.
Yes, scrolling too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That and just going into Rocket League 2. That's really good because you can change the FPS cap in that. And so I was showing I was switching back and forth between 60 and then unlocked to like a bunch of people, and it was really interesting seeing like who could tell the difference and who couldn't. But yeah, it's I mean it is kind of life changing. Like I don't know if I can really. I mean 60. I'm never going to complain about 60, but given the choice, I don't know if I can ever go back.
No. If you have the choice, you never go back.
Oh,
Especially
yeah,
with like I mean, I don't know if you have played much Counter-Strike, but like definitely with shooters as like
oh yeah, I
Twitch
did jump
based.
in.
It's so nice.
Yeah, I don't play it that much, but I mean, I jumped into like just like an offline game just to like look around and see, and the difference is just fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that once you know the difference, and once you play on 144 or 120, it's hard to go back to 60 because like in a shooter, you kind of feel like you're aiming through peanut butter.
You go from feeling like you're aiming through peanut butter, playing in quicksand. Like that's what like even movement, especially in Counter-Strike, you feel like so sluggish.
I think you
on 60.
you become hyper aware of the little bits of jagged movement on a 60 hertz monitor, and yeah, you're never able to really go back.
For sure. And I feel myself becoming, like a more and more of a PC snob because I tried playing Dark Souls 3 and that has a 60 FPS lock. Ooh. And I was just like, God, it's so shitty.
Yeah, so you're becoming more elitist by the day.
That's good.
Yeah.
What monitor did you pick up? I'm just curious.
I didn't really didn't have like a choice. It was just what was brought into, like someone was like selling it.
Well, I mean, does it have a brand?
Yeah, it does. I'm building it up. It's a LG. I'm looking at the box now. 24GM77.
Okay.
24-inch 1080p. I would have liked 1440p though. What's the verdict on 1440p? Is it worth it? Or
well, I mean, if you have the hardware to support it.
That is a $270 around dollar monitor.
That sounds like
that's good. I mean, that's what did you end up paying for it?
I picked it up for about 107.
Oh,
wow.
I mean,
yeah. So I wasn't gonna pass it up. Like, I think I'll wait until 144 hertz.
Yeah. I mean, I just have like the Acer 144 hertz version that I think Brad, you had linked to me this a while back, and it's perfect. Like, it's perfectly serviceable. Like, it's 1080p, but I mean, I just could never go back. I'm glad that you're in the elitist club now, Katie. Congrats. Because when you go, like, I also didn't go gradually. Like, I didn't go from like 60 to like, I don't know, like even 75 or well, because I was on shitty fucking monitor. You guys know, forever. And
Yeah.
then I didn't go to 120. You know what I mean? I just went from basically 60 to 144.
Well,
And
that's,
that
I think
is
a lot of
a huge
people,
jump.
a lot of people have that huge jump because
Yeah.
I was using before my 144 hertz monitor, I was using monitors that I'd used for, it had to be
Years.
at least 6 years. You know, because like there's just unless something happens to your monitor, they're reliable enough to last 5 to 8 to 10 years. And so I only got rid of them because I wanted to get a 144 hertz monitor.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's definitely. I'm proud of you, Katie. There's a tear welling up in my eye.
Yeah,
You can't see
it's
it.
great. It's so beautiful. But yeah, what else did I do? I did I mean, it's not really, I won't save it for what we've been playing because it's more real life, but for the first time I really I went to the canal at 4 a.m. and I felt like I really experienced Pokemon Go for the first time because
Okay.
they're about like yeah, because I've only ever really played it, walking around my neighborhood. I've never been with like a giant group of people, and so I ended up going around with like about a group of 10 people, just running into like upwards of like 100 people downtown.
At
Just
4
like
a.m.?
at 4 a.m. Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh.
Just and so I was just having my mind blown. Like as cheesy as it sounds, I know I've said it before, but I really felt like I was playing like a real life MMO. It's just it's crazy, like that game, and I feel like I'm gonna get addicted. But yeah, I just found it like cool that like just the whole, it was the way the game was meant to be played. It was like the experience I had.
Oh,
Feels
like-
was your mom with you?
At 4 in the
No,
morning.
not at 4 a.m. No, but we have talked about it, and we are going to.
Did you volunteer to take her phone so that she could catch the cool Pokemon too?
I mean,
Yeah.
in
that's
hindsight,
true.
I probably should have.
what
But
kind of
I didn't
son
want
are
to wake
you?
her up.
What kind of?
I
son
didn't
are
want to
you?
wake her up.
The real question is, did you catch anybody having sex near the canal at that time of night?
I did not.
Okay.
But
just
I
making
did
sure.
catch an Amistar.
Oh.
Mm,
Ooh.
Good
that's
save.
a rare one.
I haven't even heard of it, and
Yeah,
nor have I
all
caught
of a
it.
sudden, I'm the fucking Pokemon master.
Yeah, you're.
I mean, if Brandon
gaining
says, "Hey,
credibility
that's
by
a
the
rare
minute.
one,"
Yeah.
like it's rare.
Yeah.
Dang.
Bow
Okay,
down.
That's pretty good. What level are you?
6.
Oh my
And
goodness.
credibility gone. As quickly
All
as he
right, well-
garnered it, it evaporated into thin air. But hey,
All right. Hey, well, you know
So
what?
it is like the real life MMO.
Yeah. I mean,
'Cause-
you're leveling up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Maybe a year from now I'll hit level 9.
I admire your dedication. That's a 4 a.m. Pokemon Go run. That's not a. I would say that's not a casual thing to do.
No. Yeah, it was, and I definitely do want to go again sometime. It was just, I mean, yeah, it was just a lot of fun.
all right, that's good. All right, well, Brandon, we know that you. Well, I don't know about this full week, but Brandon had to rush back because he was at a wedding. Brandon has gone to, I think by my last count, 256 weddings this year already.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
people that
Just
he
this
knows
year.
getting married, just this year
Yeah.
alone, which is amazing because of I mean, obviously the amount of days in an actual year. I don't know how he's able to keep up with all the stuff he has to do at Twitch, but
Yeah. It's.
how
How
was
do you even
that?
know this many people? That's
It
what I
is.
wanna
It is
ask.
an incredible strain on the rest of my life to have to attend more than one wedding a day.
Exactly.
And I mean, on the weekends, it's just basically constant, constant going from one place to another for weddings.
Brandon has like his wedding bag with his suit and everything that's separate from his normal bag with his like, God, dude, you're just getting your
Well,
suit.
What's
get
funny
there.
is originally we were actually scheduled to go to 2 weddings this weekend, like 2
Oh my
different
God.
weddings. One was going to be on Sunday, and so we were going to fly to that one today, and I would have been gone too, but that didn't end up happening. So we just had one wedding, but it was the first. It was a Jewish couple that we know from college,
Ah.
and so it was the first time I'd ever been to a Jewish wedding. But it was
Jews know how to get married, man.
it was really neat. Like the whole thing was
Yeah.
really cool. And theirs in particular, their rehearsal dinner was not just the wedding party because we weren't in the wedding party, but we were invited to the rehearsal dinner, and so it wasn't really like a rehearsal dinner. It was more just like a big dinner with like a lot of the people that were going to be at the wedding. but it was the night before, so everyone who had come in from out of town, you get to see everyone, and all of that. And then the actual wedding was really cool. They had a live band, and they had like a open bar and a big dessert table, and like just really good stuff. And then they had a breakfast this morning. It was like
what?
It was nuts.
Wow.
It was like a whole. It was like actually
Nice.
one of the
That's
few
cool.
one of the few weddings where I've gone. Because sometimes you'll go to a wedding if you have to travel for it, and you'll really only see the people there kind of during the reception,
Sure.
And then everyone kind of goes and does their own thing, and then you fly back the next day, and you're like, sure, I got to say hi to some people I haven't seen in a while. But you don't really get to talk and sit down with people. This wedding was very different. Actually, a lot of the people that were there, friends of ours from college and stuff that we hadn't seen in a while, I actually got to see them and talk with them for quite a bit this weekend. So that was really great.
That's
and
awesome.
It sounds like they knew who was coming, and it's like, this
Yeah.
guy goes to so many weddings every year. We have to make this one really great.
This one's got to
So
stand out.
this is the
to him.
best.
They
And-
did it just
And they were
for
like,
me.
how do we get to his heart? It's like breakfast.
breakfast. in the morning.
Well, we actually weren't like originally. I was trying to skip out on breakfast, so it started I think at 8:30, and I was not
Oof.
about to be there at
That's-
8:30.
That's early. Yeah.
we
especially
rolled
after a
in. We
wedding.
rolled in about 10:45, and and it was still going on. So we caught the tail end of that. But yeah, it was really neat. Jewish wedding was pretty cool. I hadn't ever experienced that, so I'm not a super religious person, but that was a neat ceremony.
They did the whole like chair thing, and then they step on the break the.
Yeah,
break
well, the
glass,
breaking the
whatever.
glass thing was actually during the wedding ceremony. The chair thing was at the
Right.
reception.
That's right at the
Yeah.
reception.
Yeah, but
Was
so-
it like a super conservative or just like a? I guess it depends.
It
I
was
mean, there's different.
no, I mean like it
Pretty
was
traditional?
I would say it's a pretty traditional ceremony, but the reception was very like the reception was not really traditional. It was like open bar and like
Sure.
I don't know some tradition stuff, but really more. I mean they're about our age, so I would say
Yeah.
they're pretty progressive folks. But yeah, so that's where I was at all weekend, and I got home just a little while ago. Literally ran up here to start hosting the stream, and I didn't realize that the train, like just my luck, the train literally was not running for part of the way from the airport to where I live. So I got to hop on the train, get off the train, get on a bus bridge, go to another station, and then get back on the train. So that's why we were a little late this evening, in case you were wondering.
Look at that dedication. Off the plane, on a train, host the casts. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Like, there you go.
If you don't ever say I don't sacrifice to make this happen.
That's right. Just,
But the other thing I was going to mention, I also had maybe not quite as interesting a Pokemon Go story, but we were staying in downtown Houston, and now with Pokemon Go being out, the first and potentially most interesting part of going to a new city is seeing what the Pokemon scene is like there. And
I mean, you're
Oh my
right.
God.
You are right about that.
so downtown Houston had a bunch of Pokestops and stuff downtown, but one spot in particular, this kind of park. It's not very big, but it's right in downtown. It was covered in lures, and so I saw that the first night we got there, and I was like, we have to go visit this park. And so we get in, we go to dinner real quick, and then we go to this little park. And it was probably by the time we get there, it's probably like 10 p.m. And we go down there, and it is covered in people. Every person there is playing Pokemon Go, and there were just a ton of different stops, and so people were just kind of making the rounds of this park, and and it's called Discovery Green for anyone who lives in Houston. And so it's not that big, but like literally everyone that night was there until it closed at 11. And so I was like, this is cool. We had fun there. But so on Friday, we went there again to kind of hang out and do some work. They had a little cafe and stuff there. Well, so we're hanging out there, and we've been catching Pokemon some during the day, so we're just kind of taking a break. All of a sudden, see people like running across the park.
Oh god.
And
rare
immediately,
sighting.
immediately,
Oh,
I was
no.
like, I know something's got to be up. So I look at the nearby, and there's a Charizard silhouette. I was like,
Holy shit.
like,
boy.
all right, we got, and so I tell her, I'm like, give me your phone, let's do this. And
That's
so
the best thing.
so I take her phone and I get mine, and it's immediately clear where the Charizard is. Like, you just look, which direction are people running?
Yep.
And so then everyone's just like gathered in the corner of this park when they find the spot the Charizard is at. And I got a picture of it. I didn't tweet it because, you know, like, there's people's faces and kids' faces and stuff, and I didn't get in trouble.
Yeah.
But just there was just that everyone, like, the other side of the park where all the Pokestops were was completely empty, and everyone was
just
on
that
this
corner.
side, this little corner of the park, and like you got kids screaming. The Charizard fleed from one of them, and he was just having a fit. Another kid caught it and just screamed in glee.
Oh
it
my
was
god.
like, just, I mean, you just don't see this kind of thing normally.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So I caught us both a Charizard. It was not very big.
Nice.
But that was quite fun. Seeing everyone just lose their minds. And as I was walking back, this guy was walking toward there, and he like checked and made sure that I knew about it and had already gotten it. Like, people were looking out for one another and making sure that no one missed this thing. So
That's
that
cool.
was that was part of our Friday. And so yeah, you know, Pokemon Go is I think it may be here to stay. I'm still really enjoying it. It is the most casual game I've ever been into, but it's just, you know, you don't get moments like that playing some other game. And so as long as I can keep watching people scramble and fall over themselves to go catch Charizard on the other side of a park, then Pokemon Go will remain cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is awesome.
That's a cool story. I've yet to have one of those kind of interactions because I try to avoid outside or other people. But I need to go on there's a couple parks around here that I need to hit up, and so maybe I can have my own. But that's fantastic. Okay, so as far as what we played this week, a little bit about what we did. Brad, I'm really curious with you because you're a situation where you had a love. You know, you had Rust. You had this game that, you know, you were. I mean, it was straight up, you know, crack cocaine to you. And then, you know, there was this update, the XP update, right? Broke the game. What have you found in your free time? Do you game anymore, Brad?
I've actually sold my desktop, and I'm
I knew it.
broadcasting from my MacBook Air.
I knew it. That's what I was trying to go for. No, but what are you playing right now? Curious.
I'm playing Civ, Civilization, and then
Civ 5, I'm assuming, or
yeah, exactly. We played Bad Company 2 the other day.
That's true.
Yes.
You did play Bad Company 2 with me, and that was fun. I felt like you dipped out before we were done, but you played a little bit, right?
Yeah, I always try and show up at least to community nights or something. At least put in a couple games, but
and you kept saying Battlefield 4 is better, but I'll forgive that. But yeah, you were
true,
Hold on,
Yeah,
we're not just gonna let that pass.
I know.
Here we
I
go.
couldn't.
Can you please
I can't
explain
save
to
him.
me in detail how,
Why?
in any way, Battlefield 4 is a better game than Bad Company 2?
you guys just install a game for yourself and you'll see.
Oh,
No.
No,
That's
That's a cop out if I've ever heard one.
Don't pussy out of this.
Give me
I want
the
a
reasons. No,
I
as
want
a
a juicy
fan.
debate about this.
I can't. It's just so many little things with Bad Company 2 that Battlefield 4 has made better, and I think, I'll say it.
Oh god.
Say it. It's in your mind.
I can't be taken seriously with this, but I like the web browser.
Okay, all right, we're done. You know what? Get rid of the desktop.
That's it.
We're
You know
done
what?
here.
Burn it to the ground. We're never again. I like the web browser.
I thought there might be at least a single cogent point in your rebuttal, but there's not.
I just like Battlefield 4 better. I don't know.
All right.
So I
Brad,
just
let's play
shitpost an
Battlefield 4
APL
sometime.
stream.
It's okay to be
actually
wrong,
pretty.
but you just got to embrace it.
I mean, I knew. I mean, the good thing is Brad knew how toast he was as it was coming out of his mouth. So there's at least that self-awareness. But
Like the web browser.
No, you know what my pet peeve is actually with
Yeah.
the only thing I don't like about Bad Company 2
yeah,
is it's not major, seriously, but it's like when you're running, you can't strafe left or right.
Yes, that is the thing
Exactly.
everyone hates about Bad Company 2.
Yeah.
But I mean, they learned from it. Like, they can't change that part of the game. They changed it in the future games. But I mean, I will agree with you. It's just that, like, that was the first time they had ever done that kind of movement style. And actually, you know what? In like looking back on it, that movement has there's a little bit of charm there. There's a charm to having to Z strafe and move your mouse around like a wild man so that you didn't
really
get
do.
sniped.
That's my only gripe with it, though. I actually like Bad Company 2 a lot.
That's because it's objectively the best Battlefield game that's ever been made. That's probably why you like it.
Did you play 2142 or?
Oh my God!
All right.
All right, baby. All right, buddy. Trying to
Who's,
go a little bit too hard to the meme jugular right there, but I see what you're doing.
144 hertz monitor is
Katie's getting all kinds of
melted your
confidence right now.
brain.
All right, that's good. So
It really just hurts my eyes. I think I'm gonna switch it back. I'm gonna own the 144 hertz monitor, but I'll set it to 60.
yeah, I think you might. I don't think you're ready for this power. I think you should maybe go back.
Who was playing with us that had not played Bad Company 2 before? Was it Timmy?
It might have been. There was a couple people that Yingity in the chat right here was talking about. He never played the game online prior to that. I think they just played the single player experience.
Okay.
So there was a lot of people that were with us that were like, "Holy shit, this is a lot of fun," which was kind of cool. And then there was a lot of people, obviously nostalgia. We were just like, "Fuck, man, this game is so much fun," and still looks. I mean, again, Frostbite, but still looks so
Game,
good.
I think that game has probably held up better than just about any shooter has from that era.
Looks fucking good. It
Yeah.
really is.
I remember when that was in direct competition with Modern Warfare 2, and then just looking at them both today, just like,
Oh my god,
it's really selling.
not even close.
Yeah.
So okay,
Anything
so-
else, Brett?
Yeah, sorry, we were cutting you off, but
No, it's okay. And then I played a lot of Overwatch.
Yeah, I played.
how are you finding? How are you finding? You still enjoying? You just play ranked exclusively, or do you play other modes?
Well, so the season ended. So
that's right.
The next season's supposed to start, I think, the end of August, beginning of September. So I've just been playing quick play, but it's actually been a lot of fun. I think I found my two main characters that I really
your
enjoy.
mains. Who are they?
I do like Lucio and Junkrat. But
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. I really like them a lot. And yeah, Lucio's not getting much of a nerf, so that makes me happy. I don't know about Junkrat, but yeah, I've had a lot of fun. I haven't played the new stuff coming out yet. I'm super excited for Genji to get nerfed to hell.
Yeah, I was
hopefully.
happy to see that.
But
What do you think of Diva?
Oh, what's happening with her now?
Oh no, just current state.
Oh.
Diva.
There's. I think she's okay, actually.
Oh, okay.
You don't think she's OP as hell? I know that's what everybody thinks, even though I haven't
Actually-
played Overwatch in forever. I can just see my timeline.
The only thing I don't like about Diva is, so for those that don't know, each character if you haven't played Overwatch, each character has like a special ability once you do enough damage or healing or whatever it may be. So Diva she's in a giant mech, and so
Right.
once she gets her ultimate, she can fly and like self-destruct her mech, and then anybody in proximity can die from it. Well, recently they updated it so she doesn't die from that impact as well, and they actually made the respawn time quicker and everything else. I think that's OP in my opinion, and I also think it's dumb that she can't die from the explosion, but then Tracer's explosive that she throws down does kill her. So it's like this one thing, clearly a bigger object, an explosion, doesn't kill Diva, but Tracer's grenade or whatever it's called does kill her when she's right next to it. So
Yeah, it's kind of weird not to have that consistency, but
that's so I would like to see something done with Diva's ult again. I don't know if
When does Diva get out of the mech? Is it Whoa. Is it after the is it after it detonates or after she activates it?
She activates it and
She
then
jumps
immediately
out and
gets
then
out.
you shoot.
And
You
it's
can-
a time. It's a time. Yeah.
timer. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So-
I gotcha.
Other than that, yeah, can't wait for the Genji nerf. And I'm enjoying Lucio a lot. Actually, I'm trying to get my win rate up. I'm like at 60%, which isn't anything to write home about, but I think it's okay. But 60% win rate. So I don't know.
All right. There you go. All right, Katie, what about you? You talked a little bit. We already discussed Pokemon Go, so we won't trigger that again. But as far as actual non-casual games, what have you been playing?
I think he ran off, but we actually just played.
Well, okay.
No.
All right.
We just played Overwatch, and I'm gonna
did.
actually fill in for him.
Go ahead.
Dark Souls 3, Rocket League,
There you go.
Overwatch.
There you go. Some little indie game on my card list that I just finished up.
Yeah,
Really
no,
love it.
we got to follow up and see if he's followed his gaming diet.
That's right.
Okay, we're talking about the gaming diet now.
He's back.
Sorry, I had to quiet the beast
That's
outside.
fine. I was just asking what you played this week.
I played some Bad Company 2 with
Yes.
you and Hutch,
Yes.
which
I didn't ask you. I meant to ask you. Did you enjoy your Bad Company 2 time?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I was really into Bad Company 2 before I got into PC gaming. So the PS3 is what I really put like a lot of time into, and I all the progress I made on PC I wasn't playing with, which kind of really starting from the very beginning as a class, you have really nothing. And I feel like that it's hard to go with that because like my other account was like named Sexual Dave at the time, and I was like, okay, I can't play under this. I can't. All right, it was a different time in my life. I was a child.
Sexual Dave's an incredible name. There's no shame in that. I would have.
That's a name that's well beyond your years at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a name that'll get you in jail. But
Actual.
God, why the fuck did I say that? Now the secret's out.
Yeah. Well, now we know.
But other than that, played some Overwatch, played some Rocket League. You guys heard my rage before we went live.
Yes.
Forgot to
Yes.
take
You
my
were playing. You were playing and getting very upset. Did you end up losing that match, by the way?
No, that one I did win.
Okay.
Thank God. Or I don't think my controller would still be in one piece right up there.
Yeah.
But
You said this before, but you really rage at Rocket League. You get really upset.
yeah, I mean, I just get so into it. I just have to win. I just can't. Yeah, but other than that, the main thing I've really been putting a lot of my time into. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say a lot of my time. I've only put a couple hours into it. I haven't had a lot of free time this week. But Hyper Light Drifter, I started that this week, and I went into it with like kind of expectations because you see fast-paced 16-bit action RPG, and it sounds like everybody's doing that, and so.
Right.
But the more I look into the game, it's got like a really good like development history where like the character you play as has like a heart illness, and then like the developer of the game also had an heart illness, so it's kind of like a personal story, I guess. But just the combat is just fantastic, and the story is left like really, really ambiguous. It's Hyper Light Drifter is probably the best game I played this year. It
Okay. Oh.
the atmosphere is just really top notch. Like I was thinking about it, like it really is a lot like Zelda: Link to the Past, and just like combat and like world design. They're like little sub dungeons you go into, like exploring. Basically, the point of the game is finding, how you go your way to find like heart pieces in Zelda. That is like what you're doing in the game. You're going into like exploring and just trying to find, little secrets everywhere. And so you remember in Link to the Past when you first go into
Spoilers.
Oh shit.
No.
No, but when you go into like the meadow where the Master Sword is, and no one has been there in hundreds of years, and it's just a really quaint place, and that atmosphere is top notch. that feels like every room in a Hyperlight Drifter nails an atmosphere like that. Just the atmosphere and the soundtrack is really good. It's the 16-bit art style is really nailed, like much more than like I could say for other games. But
so pleasantly surprised has been surprising you.
Oh
pleasantly.
yes, very.
What
very
did you go in with? You went in with Brandon. What did he say? No expectations. I think he did. Look at what happened.
Yeah,
he went into something with no expectations, and now it's possibly one of his favorite things he's played this year.
Oh yeah,
man. If only he could learn lessons like Katie's and taking the lessons that we share and applying them to his own gaming habits. It's beautiful to see. Because when you have no expectations, you can't be disappointed, and it can only go up from there. So I'm glad that happened for you. That's
exactly.
Cool.
Yep, I just beat the first boss yesterday, and that was just. I remember beating it and yelling, "Fuck you! Fuck you!" Just it felt great. Yeah, that game's really good. It's $20 on Steam. It's on PS4 and Xbox One also, and that is just a steal for that game. The only really kind of bad thing I can say about it is that it was made in Game Maker, and the thing with Game Maker is that when like games are made, it's they're coded around the frame rate, so it is locked at 30 FPS, which really sucks for like a fast-paced action game like this. But I can deal with that. For just and the game makes up for it. I definitely recommend it.
Cool. All right. Anything else?
No, that is it.
Barn Door, talk to me. What'd you play?
My section's real short. I really haven't played much except for the Pokemon Go that I talked about because we've been traveling a bunch this week. So I want to play the next swing of the Hearthstone expansion because that came out earlier this week, but I haven't had a chance to yet. So not much for me this week.
Okay, all right, that's all good. I will go. Decent amount of variety this week. I really enjoyed GoldenEye Source, the 5.0 version came out. I don't know if it was this week or maybe even the week before. It's been out for a bit, but it's a total conversion.
It looked awesome.
Yeah, it's super super good. And when I don't know, some people will probably think like, oh, okay, GoldenEye Source, like it's probably like it'll still be Source movement or whatever else. No, it's like a total conversion on the Source engine. So even aiming, movement, the whole thing, it feels like the N64 version. And it's really awesome. And I really enjoyed playing it, and it was really fun to play with my chat. And the only problem was there was somebody, I don't know who this person was, but there's somebody that was following us around and joining our servers and then just aimbotting every game we tried to get into. And I don't know how low of a person or scum you have to be fucking aimbotting and cheating in GoldenEye Source. But this person was really enjoying himself. So we tried, and none of us had like a dedicated server or whatever. So we're kind of looking at. I was like, maybe I should just like try to get one set up or figure out if we can. I mean, we definitely could. It was just such a hassle. But from the limited time I had with it, it's like really fantastic. I remember playing it before it was in version 5.0, like maybe a year or two ago. His name was, by the way, his name was Toon, and if he's watching, he can go fuck himself. Piece of shit. I'm probably giving him weight. This is what he wants. I should stop talking about him. But he was a real piece of shit. But overall, it's totally worth it. Like download the mod and just kind of get that nostalgia. It was definitely a situation. Like I always used to get shit on. I brought it back because I was getting shit on by people on this mod version as well. But I never had a 64 growing up, so I would always love to play it. But I would go over to my friends' houses. They'd been playing for months and months and years, and so I'd go in and just get destroyed. So I was right back at home like that, but it's just really impressive to see. They even did like the opening cinematic in Source. The music's awesome. There's tons of different remixes of the theme that play throughout. Just like a really impressive product, something where you're just like, holy shit, like this is a free total conversion mod, and we have games like we have $60 titles that deliver half of this kind of quality content. So it's pretty cool. It's definitely worth a download. So check that out if you haven't. And I also played, I don't know if we talked about this last week or was it this week that I played it? I played Blackshot. I think it was this week.
I think you talked about that last week.
Did I talk about it last week? Okay. Well, All right, I'm just going through my recent list, and it's all these last 2 weeks are blended together. Blackshot, don't download it, piece of shit. Killing Floor 2 though, this week I actually hadn't played it since the alpha, and played a bunch of Killing Floor 2, and that game is, I mean, you guys know, but people were like, you really got to come back, like the maps, there's the new classes and everything, and I'm having a blast trying to grind and play through that. Did a bunch of Killing Floor. Double Action Boogaloo as well, also had an update, which people are like, what the fuck are these games? Double Action Boogaloo used to be called, what was it called it was like the Matrix mod in Counter-Strike. Someone in chat will get it for me. But anyway, it's basically like playing an action movie, slow-mo, stuff like that. Double Action got an update pretty recently, and that was great. So I'm really looking forward to, I just want to say, playing Mankind Divided, the new Deus Ex game, which is coming out on Tuesday, which I'm sorry Katie, if I nuked your update, because I'm guessing that was in there, but
it's ruined.
I'm sorry.
The segment is pointless now.
It is. The Specialist. That's what it was. Yeah, so Double Action Boogaloo was also called The Specialist, but anyway, really fun. So check it out. So that's it. That's it for me. And obviously Counter-Strike as well, and a lot of Bad Company too, which we already talked about. I guess I'm missing that one. And I'm going to continue playing that. Basically what happens is we just go in and we just populate a server. And we found one that was pretty good. That was like a rush server that rotated maps. And I guarantee, because there's very few. I mean, there's a decent amount of servers, but the population isn't too insane. But I was wondering, whoever runs that server must be like, what the fuck is going on? Like the last 3 days we've had like 5 or 6 hours of it being totally full. I'm sure they're like, what is happening? Where is
Rush in that game is so good. I'm gonna have to jump in with you. I'm sad I missed it.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be playing more. We're having a blast with it. Because then we also switched to Conquest at one point, and it was just like Conquest is okay, but Rust is just like everybody. You have to. The games are generally like pretty quick in the sense of, I mean, they can go on for a while if there's a good battle going on, but you can't be just camping around. You got to be.
I like Rush a lot more in Bad Company too, because since there isn't that emphasis on vehicles, it's just a lot of infantry combat, and you're constantly moving to the next point. Whereas Conquest is kind of, the point of it is kind of like, camp the ones you want to keep, and that more lends itself to vehicle gameplay. But yeah, Bad Company 2 Rush is just like nothing else.
It was a really good time. So, all right, I think that's going to conclude what we've been playing and all the exciting social things that happened in our lives this week. As you can see, I had nothing all that exciting socially happened to me. But we're going to jump into the news, and the first story we're going to talk about is, we've been talking about Quake Champions quite a bit on this podcast.
Just
and
leaking out little detail after little detail.
That's right. Little bits and pieces, if you will. And there's another one here that we got this week. So obviously a lot of players kind of upset and including us, when we heard about Quake Champions, that there's going to be, when you pick your character, they're going to have special abilities, right, that come inherently with them. And so people were like, well, is that going to be like permanent? Is that something that we can change? And it turns out that Tim Willits, he basically has downplayed the overall significance of champions, calling them an additive thing. This was in a GameSpot interview. But they are basically making it possible. He's saying that we want to make sure, I'll read the quote now. He said, we want to make sure that we give people what they want. If you create a custom game mode, you should be able to set the game up the way you want. If you want to turn champions off, we'll let you turn champions off. That won't be a problem. So Brad was a little bit triggered, though.
Here's the thing. That doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, in a custom game mode, you should be allowed to turn them off. That's literally the point of even offering custom game modes. But the version that people are going to play is the version that id puts in front of you, right? And that they promote, that they try and create an esports scene around. Like, they're not going to create a scene around the custom game mode that does away with the champions. It's the same, like, look at Hearthstone, right? Hearthstone implemented Standard and Wild. Guess how many people play Wild? Probably slightly higher than 0, but not by much. There's, like, Wild is like, completely ignored. And the game just changed now. Everyone plays Standard. That's how the game is played. And so, like, I think it's basically just, I feel like it's kind of a cop-out to answer a question that way, to say, like, oh yeah, like in the custom game mode, you can do whatever you want. look at all these checkboxes in the custom game mode. Like, that's not the point, because no one's gonna play that mode. No one is actually gonna play the mode that, the specific custom game mode where they take away the champions. Like, people are gonna play in the competitive queues or like whatever it puts in front of you, and that's gonna be with the champions. So like, I'm not saying that I don't appreciate them allowing you to turn that stuff off, because I think that is good. But also, like, don't pretend like you're doing us a favor by saying, hey, you could always disable it in custom mode, because that's not even relevant to most people playing the game.
That's a fair point. I mean, you're right. I mean, I think the Hearthstone is a great comparison, right? Like, nobody's playing the wild mode. And you're right. People are going to want to play whatever the ranked is and whatever else. Brad, you were a little bit triggered, though. I feel like people like Brandon were triggering you. Do you have anything you want to say? Because we talked about this in the pre-show.
Well, I just felt like the way they addressed it basically said, like, oh, we hear you, but we're not going to change the game. So we're basically sidestepping what the true fans want for what we want. Like, and I was kind of upset with that because
that's exactly what it sounds like.
That's what Brandon's echoing. Yeah.
Because basically, there's this repetition we're seeing here with Bethesda and other titles of like, here's what the fans want, and they address it, but it's like, we can kind of offer that to you, but we don't want to. Like, and I don't get why. Like, it's here's what the fans want, and then like, some companies just ignore it. If you don't want to put something in, just ignore us. Like, I would almost feel better about that than like giving me the shitty option of like, oh yeah, if you don't want champions, sure, we won't give you a game mode, we won't give you competitive. We will offer you to set up custom matches so you can spend 5 minutes trying to configure something so you can play the game that
the way
the fans want it to be played.
Sure.
Like, that doesn't make any sense to me, and it's something that we've been seeing over and over again. I don't know if it's some asshole producer or something that's just like sitting up there and like, I hear them, but no, I don't want it done this way. I don't know who's making these changes or whatever it may be. It's just super frustrating.
I think it's the modern shooter thing. I think they think they cannot make a classic Quake.
Well, that's
in today's market.
It shows that
even though people are saying that they can.
It shows that they don't want to make that. They don't want to make that experience a first-class citizen in the game. They're basically saying like, yeah, it's going to be in the custom game mode, but that sort of implicitly tells you that that's not the direction they intend for the game to go.
Yeah.
And if you want that, that crazy experience, right? They could have just as easily been talking about like guns that freeze you or something stupid. Like, custom game modes are going to have all sorts of stuff you can turn on and off, probably low grav mode and all that. Like, they're basically putting it in the same bucket as all the other weird features that they, that like a custom game mode should have, because you want to maybe mix it up or do an exhibition or something. But I don't know, I think the worst I don't know, maybe it's not a bad thing though, because if Quake Champions doesn't, like, let's say it doesn't take off the way that they hope, and people just start playing the custom game modes like as pugs or something, and they play custom without the champions, that may actually influence the direction of the game. But that will only happen like if the game comes out and is not that successful to begin with. So I feel like it's like maybe a failure either way.
I just wish they'd listen to the fans. That's all I gotta say, man. I mean, we still got some time to. The game is supposed to launch in 2017.
There's
quote unquote beta. So
there's a lot of time. And I mean, again, I hear what you guys are saying too, but I don't want to just automatically assume. I mean, again, this is probably foolish on my part, but I don't want to automatically assume that because there's champions and they have special abilities that the game's going to be bad, because it's possible. You know what I mean? Like, the game could turn out to be. It's not going to be the OG Quake, but it could still be a version of the game that's still very solid, right? I mean, we don't know yet. We still have to see. It could still
be great. It's just like, I'm not super satisfied with answers like these. That like you're gonna it's sort of like it feels like trying to have your cake and eat it too. It's like that the purists are going to call you to the carpet on things like this, but you're making sure that you don't say no, it's not going to be in the game, but like you're basically sidestepping the actual concern, which is the core gameplay is clearly not going to have this. You want the champions in there. You're basically telling us you want the champions in there, and that's the way you intend the game to be played. So I'm hoping that experience is good, but they're also sort of like betting the whole game on getting that experience right. And I'm not sure that I trust them to get that experience right.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. So we will continue to bring you more Quake Champions news as it avails itself.
Keeping themselves in the news, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like the last couple months we've been talking, or at least couple weeks we've been talking about Quake Champions. So speaking of companies not giving a shit about what anybody thinks, we've got Valve in the news again, and perfect. I mean, I couldn't everything that you said that applied to why you're frustrated. Yeah, why you're frustrated with the Quake Champions stuff can be echoed in a decision that Valve has made Valve has banned in-game coaching at majors, and essentially for pretty much any other tournament that wants to align themselves with how the major is laid out. And Valve strongly recommends other tournaments can do what they want, but that they should adhere by the official statement from Valve. And this came essentially, I don't want to say that it came totally out of the blue, because there was a lot of pro players that talked about at the last major, talking to Valve employees, and Valve employees were asking a lot of questions about the coaching role and what did the players think about it, was it important? And basically uniformly across the board, all of the pro players and coaches and team leaders were like, yeah, I mean, coaching adds a really important element to the game, and we really like having kind of that 6-man or whatever else to be able to help during these high level games. So what does Valve do? I mean, again, Valve, they can do whatever they want, and they decide, and the mindset from what I hear for a long time at Valve has been they want this game to be a 5v5 game, and they view the 6-man or the coach as not aligning with the priorities of what they want to see for Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Well, this begs the question, what does Valve really see as priorities for Counter-Strike Global Offensive? And I think a lot of people would argue changing all the sounds of the pistols and guns as they're doing right now is a pretty big priority. They're definitely doing that. Adding new guns like the R8 without testing it in any kind of patch definitely seems to be a priority. You're going to see I'm a little bit biased on this topic, but it's another situation where Valve again makes a decision because they will do whatever they want despite any kind of evidence to the contrary, where people are saying, no, like one of the reasons that the game is played at such a high level now and is super fun to watch is because you have the addition of that coach who really can help make those round decisions and play-by-play and all that kind of stuff. So this was actually news that was broken, I think, on Hiko's stream. Hiko was streaming, and he got an email from ESL because they had gotten contacted by Valve to kind of spread this information out. And I'll just read you what the email that he read on stream. And it said this: if a person, in regards to the coach, if a person is performing these actions, and the actions that were performed, we're talking about like making call-outs, all that kind of stuff, we consider them a player. Since the goal of our events is to identify the best 5-player CS teams that exhibit the best combination of all CS skills, the current participation of coaches in the game is not comparable with that goal. To address this problem, future Valve-sponsored events will enforce the following coaching rules. During a match, the coach may only communicate with the players during warm-up. I mean, and that's a huge change. Wow. I mean, that's a massive change. And so obviously the outcry was pretty heavy when this news came out. People were, again, there wasn't any shock or anything for me. It was just like, oh, well, here we go. Another decision that despite, the thing with Valve is like, it's not that they won't communicate or ask questions. It's that they communicate, ask questions, get the lay of the land, talk, where you go like 90% of people that play this game at a high level that want to see it continue to grow, that feel like, a lot of the Counter-Strike that we see is the highest level that you will ever see in the history of across a lot of the games because of the way that the coach has kind of come in and alleviated some of that in-game leader pressure and all that kind of stuff. And still ignore it. And again, that's their prerogative. It's their game. They can do whatever the fuck they want. And, they will continue to do that because they've proven that they will. But I think it's personally, again, it's not that it can't, when we won't adapt and, people will do whatever they're going to do to make sure that they abide by the rule. Because the realistic thing, because a lot of people were asking, like, well, how do, like, this is like the last straw. Like, people have been talking about players union for CSGO, because as these changes come out, right, and, you know, players, like I said, I follow a lot of pro players and a lot of coaches and a lot of the people in the CS scene, and they were just like, are you fucking kidding me? And a lot of the outrage was like a lot of these coaches that are picked up for organizations and stuff like that, that are meant to be kind of that six man when they're playing these games, are like, well, I'm kind of like out of a job. And that's maybe a bit of a stretch, but as far as being able to be that six man and actually communicating during those games, it's like, well, no, like, it's going to be all prep now, and it's going to really change a lot of these roles. So this article points out that, like, it's really hard to tell what the fuck, like, what Valve is trying to do with the game. And it's been said, like, when you look at Dota, right? Like, Dota is the darling child of Valve, obviously. It's a game that makes the most money for them. It's a game that they really communicate with the community in a lot of ways. Whereas CS, right, is a game that is super competitive, has had a lot of growth, makes a lot of money in cases and everything else, but there isn't that same kind of communication. And this is just another situation where it's super frustrating. So, there's,
I mean, to play devil's advocate though, like I
Sure.
don't actually think this reasoning, like, I think it actually makes some sense. I think the kind of the delivery and the way in which they drop this news feels pretty heavy-handed, and feels like it's done in a way that doesn't really have regard for the impact it has on the scene. But I actually don't, like, as I read it, I don't know that I disagree with the reasoning. It's one of those things that I think if this had been the rule, like, for a long time now, no one would ever have complained. It's only like a concern now because they're bucking this significant trend in their ecosystem that does potentially put people actually, like, out of jobs, and it puts some teams at a heavy disadvantage almost immediately because they might have been relying on that.
They build around a coach, and that's the other frustration. Again, I agree, but this is again where we come back to total lack of transparency from Valve. And again, they can do whatever they want with their game, but they allowed this meta to come up and become a thing. And again, like, they can change it whenever they want, and they clearly are. But, like, the argument to be made for the coach is that the level of Counter-Strike that we're seeing now is higher than the level of Counter-Strike when you have the 5v5 stuff. And again, I'm not saying that we're going to see, like, it's not going to look like, silver matchmaking, but it is a change. And again, I agree with you too, playing devil's advocate. Like, I understand, like, having that role of an in-game leader, it's very tough, right? Calling strats, also being able to frag and do all that kind of stuff, having that alleviated to a six-man. I can understand Valve saying, we never wanted that to be the case. It's your 5 versus their 5. Like, I get it, but to me, it just comes back to the reasons that all of the CSGO community, regardless of what you think of this decision, are just constantly frustrated with Valve, because
is there
they don't communicate.
Is there a way that you think they could have made this decision that would have, like, not been met with such controversy?
I think if they just had said, like, for a while, like, before they just made the decision, right? Like, again, obviously they have a certain vision for the game, but I really do feel like, from what the players and everyone that they were talking to for months in Valve asking these questions, no one thought that they were actually going to be eliminating the coaching role. It never sounded like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, they weren't tipping their hand in that sense. And so I think a lot of the shock is coming from the fact that, like, people thought that their feedback, and again, just because you ask for feedback doesn't mean you have to do whatever the popular opinion is. But I think people really thought, because of their feedback, that they were more leaning towards, like, okay, well, yeah, they're listening to us. They understand why we think, like, Counter-Strike is at a really high level right now with the coach. It's not going to be changed. And again, assumptions make an ass, out of you and me. I totally get that. But it's also, like, the fact that it's such a hard and fast decision. Like, if you can't even talk, like, they're not even allowing you to talk in freeze time, right? Which a lot of people are kind of talking about, like, could we meet somewhere in the middle? Whereas, like, could we at least have the coach talk in freeze time before the round even starts? I understand Valve not wanting them talking during the rounds. I mean, it is really the six-man idea, and I totally understand that. But, I don't know if there's going to be any leeway. It sounds like this is what their decision is, and obviously we're going to live in the era that, we're going to have to deal with it. But it's just, it's just so frustrating. It's just another continuing.
I think, like, I don't know. I think this is one of those times where I'm not sure I don't necessarily agree with a lot of the sentiment that I've seen getting thrown around, because I can definitely agree with kind of the lack of transparency stuff, but I'm not sure that there's a way they could have delivered this news that would have been, an easier transition. Like it's clear that what probably happened is they didn't think about this early enough to get ahead of it, and it now like they probably thought it was something they needed to address, but it got out of hand and like was becoming a trend that like every team was going to have a coach, and they wanted to basically overnight get rid of that. But I think people are also pretty quick to throw this in with like other reasons they've been annoyed with Valve. This doesn't actually seem.
But it's exact. Yeah, but
this doesn't seem that bad because like look. I feel like Riot makes similar decisions with League of Legends.
Wow.
It's just that they control that ecosystem in a much more like official way that I think like. This is just my conjecture, but it feels like people react much more violently to Valve changing things because it looks like a lot of times they want to be really hands-off until they don't. Whereas like Riot always wants to be hands-on, and so people aren't as upset when they go changing rules. Or I mean, people still get upset, but it's like they come to expect it because that's Riot's baby. Whereas Valve, sometimes it looks like they couldn't care less, and then they drop something like this, which shows that they really clearly care about some certain aspect of the game, but you never really know which one it is.
No, exactly. And that's the thing. And Valve is always and forever reactive to stuff. I mean, look at the gambling situation. So, I don't buy that people are like, oh, people are just mad about changing all stuff. No, I agree with you in the sense of like, I don't think the game's broken. Like if coaches are gone, people will adapt. It was like that for a long time. It can go back to being that where you didn't have a coaching role. That is only something that has really come up strong, especially in global offensive. So it can go back. And again, I don't think it's necessarily bad to say like, okay, well now the focus on the in-game leader, like, I mean, again, it goes back to like the strat caller. That's like the responsibilities are even more weighted like they used to be. I don't think that's necessarily bad, but it's just because it's Valve and the way that they handle stuff. They are forever reactive. They are hands off until they don't want to be hands off, or they release some update that is 100% tone deaf, regardless of if they talk to the pro players or do whatever else. And this just, it's another example of this same exact thing. I'm not saying that Valve has to talk to us about every single thing, but this is a company, especially with CSGO, that will come to you, like especially after the Revolver update, which I'm not going to go into it, but basically broke the game for multiple days and fucked up the entire, like how the game was actually played, came on a blog post and were like, well, we're so sorry that we did this to the community. We'll be more transparent next time. And then they just continue to do whatever the fuck they want. And so it makes me feel like they think I'm fucking stupid. And everybody's fucking stupid. And it's just like, oh, yeah, well, sorry, guys, like we did it again. And they can't claim that because they're the ones that you can only assume a couple things about Valve. Either they're fucking stupid, which I would like to believe that they're not stupid. They don't care. I think it's much more in that they don't care and they don't really value anybody's input that actually plays the game to a certain extent, right? If it interferes with what they actually want for the game. Or it's a mixture. It's a little bit a mixture of both. So I don't know. It's super fucking frustrating. And it's another example, again, where maybe the decision isn't necessarily bad. But it exemplifies what everybody, when it comes to CSGO, hates about Valve. And there's no excuse for it. This is an esport that is breaking boundaries. They had good ratings. We've got E-League on TBS. Like this is a game that you should have a development team with more people than is on it, that you should have somebody that's the go-to source. Like, hey, this is our spokesman. I'm not saying he has to explain everything, but is there somebody we can go to for CSGO that's going to represent the esports side like they have in fucking Dota and Ice Frog or whatever the fuck else? Like, do we not deserve that? Has this game not made you guys millions of fucking dollars every fucking year since Cases? Like anyway, and I'm screaming into the void because it doesn't matter. And so like my tweets were like, oh, Valve made another tone deaf decision. I can't believe it. It's shocking. But it's a joke at this point. So it's just like the sixth cycle of like an abusive relationship where it's like, yes, I like the game enough to continue to play it. It is addictive. There's a lot of good things about CSGO. It's done a lot of good things for Counter-Strike in changing meta and adding certain things like the Molotov. The game runs really well now. Like there's a lot of things that are good about it. But in the back of your mind, that when you come home some night, Daddy Valve's going to be drunk still. They'll say it's never going to happen again. And they're going to release that update in the form of a punch right to your fucking jugular. and you're going to have to go to the hospital and recover and then be like, all right, it's all right. You know what? I got to remember that at the end of the day, Daddy Valve doesn't really love me and it doesn't care and it's not my fault. That's what you have to do. It's just, oh God, sorry, I didn't mean to go off on it. But again, it's so frustrating because you have to separate the decision from the fact of like, if you play the game all the time and the shit that you see that they do to us, and I know I sound like a fucking victim. I'm not trying to sound like it, but it really is unacceptable. And nothing's really going to change though. And so this is the only place I get to scream into the void really and talk about it. Well, on my stream too, but people are sick of it at this point. So it's good to be able to do it here.
It's like, it's amazing because people are so like, there's no other game that gets people so like involved or like, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but some people are really devoted to the Valve, like CSGO professional scene.
Yeah, sure.
But really it comes down to like, if you guys don't support it, like you kind of have to show that you don't support it by like not playing the game.
Well, exactly. And that's never, and that's,
if they're not going to listen to, you know, your words, they're going to listen to the numbers. And I think, that's my opinion. Like, they're going to see that.
And I think that was the reaction, especially to I do think, I know player numbers dipped quite a bit during the Revolver update. Like, I think they actually saw, I think that was one of the reasons they even responded. Obviously, they saw, I mean, it was, you went on the subreddit or whatever else that, like, people talk about CSGO, and it was just, like, people were really upset. And I agree, like, at the end of the day, it has to be a situation. But I was like, you know, could all the teams, like, refuse, if they really care about this coaching thing, are all the teams going to get together and say, well, we refuse to play in the major unless there's at least a talk or at least some compromise? And the truth is, I don't think, you know, and that's why all the talks about the players union and stuff like that, like, can we all get together and, like, agree that we're going to do, like, because I don't think there's enough, as far as the organizations go, I don't think everybody's going to agree. Some people are going to be like, well, I'm not risking losing out money. It's so much money. I agree, though. You have to vote.
That's ultimately the problem, though, is like they have more to lose than Valve does.
They do. Exactly.
Right.
And I think that the kinder way to look at this is that Valve has, I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but this is just one way that I could see the internal situation going, is that the team working on it probably isn't big enough for the popularity the game has. But I imagine the people working on the game probably care intensely about it. But Valve always seems to have a tendency to let the community try and, like, they want to leave just about everything in the hands of the community until and unless they have to step in. And that's why you see the stuff like, you know, like the gambling, like the like the things they get wrong. It's usually like you could sort of see how they might have gotten it wrong because there's so few people internally that are actually looking at the stuff that gets pushed out. And then when they do make a big mistake, sometimes they will make those mistakes. And I think it's like, it's a hard place to be when I'm not sure that they want to necessarily define the entire direction of the game. You can just tell when there are certain things that are important to them that they take a hardline stance on, and this seems to be one of them. I'm not really sure why, but this seems to be one of them. And so it's like, when possible, they seem to want to let the community decide just about everything. But then when they have to step in, sometimes they really make a choice that grinds against what just about everyone else wants. And I think the frustrating part is that you don't really know what that larger vision is. You don't really get this, like, you don't really understand why the coach thing really matters to Valve.
Is like the line in the sand for them. They're like, well, you know,
right. And I think that's what you're talking about with being frustrated about it is like not understanding why this was such an important thing that you had to draw that line in the sand to take coaches out of the game pretty much immediately. And like, why did that matter above all of the other things going on in the game? Like, why are you devoting your energy to this issue? And you know, I think you probably won't get that answer, you know, because that is the way Valve operates in that very secretive manner until there's a blog post.
Exactly. Then there's the blog post. Like, oh my God, the gods from on high have chosen to speak to us and tell us why they did this one thing that they aren't going to revert no matter anyway. And I have to say real quick, I know we've gone on this issue a long time. I'm sorry I got triggered, but Twerk Sick in the chat made a great point that there's also like no other games out there like CSGO, and there's not going to be in a long time. CSGO is a perfect example. Again, yes, the game has changed some and all that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, the formula of Counter-Strike remains unchanged in global offensive. And a perfect example, we've been talking about Quake, right? People want Quake to remain unchanged and then come back. And you know what? Nope, there's going to be champions. There's going to be certain abilities that are linked to that. So part of my frustration is like, it's amazing. Like I'm grateful that CSGO is as popular as it is and continues to basically keep the same formula that makes, Counter-Strike so great and immediately accessible to people, but also very hard to master and has an incredibly high skill ceiling. And Torque is right. Those games don't come out or exist anymore. And there's no games, and even if they do get made, they never get to the level of success that a Counter-Strike has. And so it's like when you have this precious thing in this ecosystem of these fucking garbage shooters coming out, these free-to-plays that have fucking, 600 different unlocks and all these kill streaks, or, even, again, Quake could still turn out to be a good game, but that don't hold to the formulas that made the games super addictive and high skill ceiling games before. I just get, it's super personal. It's don't fuck with my game. Like, it's still here and it's battling against all these other pieces of fucking garbage. So like, I would just like a little bit of transparency. It's like having a kid and then like you're so attached to them, but the person watching them doesn't give you any information. The person not only watching them, the person bathing them, feeding them every day, actually making the decisions, you just get to hear little things like, well, little Billy isn't totally dead yet, but we've decided that he's not allowed to play with his friends anymore or whatever. It's like you're just getting that. And maybe you hear updates once every 3 months. I know I'm just making these analogies, but that's what it feels like. And it's like, but it's my little Billy. Like, I love him so much. He's one of a kind. And just feeling like you never know. Like, I make jokes about it, but I'm like, I could wake up in a world tomorrow where where Counter-Strike Global Offensive has fucking rocket launchers. Like, and that sounds extreme, and I don't think the devs are going to do that, but the stuff that I've seen and the things that they've made to it and the changes that they say, and sometimes in the blog post I read them and I'm like, oh my God, that's what they want to add, more weapon variety? Like, they want to add more weapons? Like, no, that's not what we need. Like, the formula is already great. And I know I'm an old guard and I resist change, and I'm not saying there haven't been good things done in CSGO. There absolutely have. But it's just man, it's just like, please don't kill my baby. Please don't kill it.
What if they introduced CSGO Champions, where they had special classes and kind of like this new game Quake coming out?
No, I know. No, exactly. And I mean, I can tell you, like, if they announced the CSGO Champions and there was I would be as mad as the Quake purist. I mean, and I like Quake, but I'm not as much invested in the series as I am in like a Counter-Strike. So, no, I totally get where it comes from, and I'm grateful for where we are. It's amazing where CSGO is. I just worry with, like, because it's in the hands of the people that I feel like I just can't fully trust. I'm not saying that they don't have the best interest of the game in mind. Their best interest, right, for what they think. Again, like we said, the line in the sand is coaching for them for some why? I don't know. But that they're going to draw that line. It's like, it would be awesome to have Valve not be reactive, and you're right, that's not their nature though, Brandon. The way that they operate, they let the community handle it until they feel like they have to absolutely step in. But that's also like, that's a fucking cop out for me, and that's just another way to be like, I'm not saying they have to be totally transparent, but any kind of communication or saying like, okay, just a heads up, guys. Even in this situation, being like, we've been talking to the players. And just so you know, there's going to be changes coming down the line. Like, we want this to be 5v5, even if it was like a month out or 2 months out. Like, right. But then they just drop it, and then when people are mad, they're probably, who knows? I imagine somebody's in some fucking room like, oh my God, I can't believe people are they're really mad about the coaching thing. I thought like everyone knew this game was 5v5. Like, I wonder if those conversations actually go on. I don't know. I'd like to be All right, sorry. I'm going to stop talking about CSGO. I know, but we can move on.
You should email Gaben. Let him know.
I should. I mean, to be honest, that's probably...
He does reply to me, so...
He actually replies, yeah. So I should actually just ask him. I don't know if anyone... I'm sure people email him about CSGO questions. I don't think he ever answers CSGO-related stuff, because I'm sure it would be on the subreddit at this point.
Probably.
But, all right. Well, let's go from one fucking trigger. I'm sorry that took so long. To another trigger. No Man's Sky. Okay, guys? So... We're not
I feel like my dad's yelling at me.
I know. All right, I'm gonna calm down. Okay. No Man's Sky Sean Murray, the creator of the game and the face of this game, right? He said a while ago that there would definitely be no paid DLC for this game. And I'm going to read you some quotes that he said in the past, okay? He said that they definitely want to do future updates. We want a ton of features like we've discussed, freighters, bases, all these type of things, but we want to do it for free. This is something he said last week to Red Bull. He said, you've paid for the game, so you should get the stuff without paying even more money. So no, there will be no paid DLC, just patches. I mean, that sounds pretty, right? I mean, that's like, I don't think we're reading in between the lines. That's pretty unequivocal, right? No paid DLC. I mean, that's the sentence that he says. Just patches, excuse me. Yesterday, however, and this was, I don't know if this was actually, no, this was 4 days ago. So this was earlier in the week. Murray walked back on those remarks very slightly. I don't know how slightly, but very slightly in an interview with the Daily Star. He told the site, and this is my favorite part of this whole PC Gamer article, and really what I think the tagline for Sean Murray's entire life should be, if not No Man's Sky. He told the site that he was, in quotes, perhaps naive when he ruled paid DLC out completely, adding that it could happen if maybe in the future there's some reason why we couldn't possibly afford to do a certain feature without charging for it. And I mean, I feel like when it comes to No Man's Sky, I mean, there's been a lot of coverage on it. We talked about it a ton. But I think Sean Murray calling himself perhaps naive is just incredibly spot on, and maybe a bit of an understatement when it comes to kind of the whole circus of this whole thing. And so anyway, just another kind of thing to be like, all right, is what do you guys think about it?
I feel like he's just consistently learning that you have to, as dumb as it sounds, when you're doing stuff like this, you kind of have to talk like a consultant. You want to talk in a lot of like probablys and maybes and shoulds and should nots. Like you don't want to put things in absolutes. And when you say a quote that like literally can't be taken any other way, like you don't even need context for the quote. He's said something in very absolute terms, and I feel like he's not even really walking it back much. It's just the fact that he's walking it back even a little bit. I think rightfully shows that, it shows people like, do you really have an idea of what the future of this game is? Right? Like, why would you need to walk this back? Why would you ever have said these absolute things if you weren't really, really sure of them? And so, like, I don't even think it's that big a deal. It's just the constant bad expectations setting. I feel like he just sinks deeper and deeper into it, like every interview.
If only he had listened to our cast over the last year, Brandon, where we've really been pushing no expectations.
I know.
Like, I understand there's a certain
from this.
And it's not like, and I've been watching a lot of videos and stuff, and I've been going back, and like, obviously, like, I'm sure he wasn't the only one wanting to build the hype, but there's no question that he helped build into this hype from so many of his comments. And, when you're in a situation where, like, let's even give him the benefit of the doubt, say that, like, in the first couple press conferences he did, that people took this game and just blew it, like, totally out of proportion. And I think that's totally fair. I think the expectations for this game were way higher than, no matter, even if it turned out to be better than it was. It's the game still, he's still in these interviews, like you said, doing the exact same thing, making these like statements and being like, like even when it came to the multiplayer stuff, like where people were like, okay, well, no, it's not an MMO, but he definitely said that if players ran across each other, even though it's super 1% chance rare, that they'll be able to connect. And obviously that still hasn't been the case. So I'd be interested to see as far as like who's working at that company. I wonder if anybody's gone to like, Sean, stop talking.
Here's what he could say instead.
Stop.
Like if I were to revise his quote to Red Bull, instead of saying there will be no paid DLC, all right, listen to this. Listen just how subtly you can change it to avoid the outcry.
I'm ready.
We have no plans for paid DLC.
Boom.
There it is.
Do you see that subtle wordsmithing?
You're right.
That is literally like that kind of thing. That small change is like why you hire people in marketing and PR.
Yeah, to be able to
help you out. It sounds stupid, but that is actually why. You hire them so that they look at your draft of responses to, some interview like this, and they're like, no, we're going to change this wording very slightly so that we don't get an article in every major online news outlet.
They need PR
Because-
Brandon, dude.
Yeah.
They need PR Barn Door.
That's actually really spot on. I remember when Dark Souls 2 was coming out, they were saying, we have no plans for DLC at all. And what did we get? A season pass and 3 DLCs. We have no plans to put this game on next-gen consoles. And what did we get? Next-gen console remasters. That's
Look,
genius.
It doesn't even matter. You don't
You
have
can
to
still
follow
do
through.
it, but you don't get the shitstorm.
Yeah.
Initially, right?
Yeah, but I mean, like, and I'm not saying that they should just like try and cop out. I think that I want to give them the benefit of the doubt that it seems like they're being, if anything, like too honest. That it seems clear that they have not even thought of a world in which they would need to offer paid DLC. But it's like he's realizing that, you know what, maybe we might at some point have to, right? Like, because he doesn't know. Maybe if they support this game for like 4, 5, 6 years, then maybe like in the 6th year they do paid DLC. No one is gonna no one's gonna care about that. And that might be completely reasonable if they actually supported the game for free for that long. But because he's he's just thinking about all the things he's saying that he feels like maybe he won't be able to cash later on. Like, I think he's feeling like he's gonna get swept up in his words. But he's just like, I don't even think he needs to worry about it. Just if you're gonna say there's no paid DLC, you need to continue going hard in that no paid DLC route, right? Like, just own it. Just say absolutely not, never. And if you ever have to do paid DLC, then you take the hit at that point and say, you know what, I was dumb. I shouldn't have said that, right? But like he's like trying to do it, but then he's backing it out when he doesn't even know. He just he needs a marketing, like someone. He needs
Somebody
someone
needs to help the man.
Someone to help him out.
And even if like I don't even God, yeah, no, you're totally right. And again, like I think in the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal. But with the release of No Man's Sky and the fallout that has happened since then, like this is just another situation where people go like, "Come, what the fuck?"
He just needs to take
on,
someone
man.
else in the room with him in these interviews and just like slightly touch up his wording.
Yeah,
That's a problem with getting these producers and game developers doing interviews is they aren't they're people that just sit inside and code all day, and then you get them in front of a camera, and sometimes they put on the spot. They don't know what they're saying. I mean, let's be honest about it. But that's why they have PR individuals,
professionals. I mean, in this situation though, it's kind of weird, right? Because he became the face, right? Like he gained a lot of notoriety because it's like Sean Murray's game, right? This is his game. He did all the fucking E3s. He did the and so I don't know if that's an excuse anymore at a certain point because he's been in front of he's done this so many times.
I think
like at some point you have to start learning. Like you don't get maybe the first year even of promoting this game you could be like, all right, like he's learning. But he's been in the like I don't buy like the abstract like no, like you're over that now. You've seen the real world. You're with a AAA publisher like Sony, or not publish. Does Sony publish it? Well, I know they put some money into the game. I don't know exactly where it went, but anyway, he's out of the the bubble. Like he's seen the real world, and now he has to adjust and live in this fucking shitty virtual simulation that we all live in, the Matrix. And he needs to be smarter with how he communicates. And if he can't be smarter, then they need to lock him the fuck up and make sure that he cannot go to interviews anymore to make it any worse. I mean, honestly, if I'm part of Hello Games, I'm like, you can't talk anymore. We're done. We're going.
This is the type of thing you get when you demand full transparency from a developer and you say like, no, I want the honest answers. I want the real people telling me. It's like maybe sometimes you don't. Because I think this is what you get. This is like if you just put someone out there who's like working on the game constantly and not necessarily thinking about cohesive, coherent messaging. They're not thinking about like the way that their comments could be taken in different ways. And you think you want that, but then maybe you don't. Because I think this is kind of what you get when you ask for that, like that level of communication.
And I know that there's people, like, I remember in the past, I'd be like, man, it'd be amazing. Like, what if we, before the internet, like when I'm reading my fucking PlayStation magazine in fucking South America, my official PlayStation magazine that I would get literally sent to me from the US from my grandmother, would send it to her house, and then she would ship it to the shitty town I lived in South America. And I would just hold on to it, and I'd be just sweating as I read every article over and over again. I'd be like, man, it'd be amazing that there would be a day where, like, my favorite developers could talk directly to me, right? Like, where I could just ask them questions and whatever else. And you know what? On the flip side of that, like you're saying, when we get into situations like this with like a Sean Murray or whatever else, I'm not saying like inherently like he's trying to fool everybody or whatever else. I don't think like it's just a cash in or like I definitely think it's more nuanced.
I think he's just wearing his heart on his sleeve, and like
he's
trying to be honest, but then I think he's realizing that honesty is actually sometimes not completely thought out. Like I believe that he thinks and doesn't ever want there to be paid DLC, but then he's thinking like, oh wait, like we have to actually run this company, and so there may come a time where paid DLC is a necessity to continue running the company, and then I'd look foolish because I said we'd never do paid DLC. It's like, and of course that it is what it is. Like no company is ever making decisions like that without some kind of business necessity being behind it. But I think he's speaking sometimes before he's thinking about actually like the full ramifications of what the fallout is.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like the area I'm going with the PlayStation Magazine is like if we lived in a world where that was still the case and we didn't have the everyone having the internet, right? Like you could be like, I think Sean Murray is made for that time. I think Sean Murray is made for the time where he goes to the E3s, right? And you only read about it really in print or maybe in a text article, on 56K whenever before broadband. Like Sean Murray is a god. He's a god because
Sean Murray would benefit from the old time of far fewer news cycles.
Yes, exactly. And instead he was born and developing games in a time where everything he said is going to be scrutinized. Everything he says, even if he's just like the ethereal, like, yeah, like, oh, well, that's what I would love my game to be. And that's not his accent, but you know what I mean. And he gets slammed for it. And it's like, like I said, after a certain point, when this happens over and over again, like you just have to adjust. And so I really hope Sean Murray is able to adjust and gets the help that he needs. Because it's getting ridiculous at this point, but all right. Did Brad or Katie want to talk anything to add to this, or should we move on? I'm sorry.
Well, I just thought it was. I think a lot of it is he was seriously developing the game, and then doing press conferences as it went, and like as development was going, like clearly. But what was going to be put in the final product was just in the air, and I don't think he had any idea what was going to be included or not. Because people have been scrubbing the PC files, and they have found models for like the characters, for instance, which you mentioned earlier. Like people have found each other, but then haven't seen each other.
Still can't see each other. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. On premium versions of the games, stickers have been put over the little emblems saying that
we talked about that last
game.
Week, but
right.
They changed that.
I mean, honestly, to me, and then not only that, but the console games, that you get from the store, and you ran it without updating it, like it was broken as hell too. So I'm thinking really a lot of this just comes down to the game was rushed. It should have been delayed. He has all these comments on like things that aren't in his power. And I just think he's retracting his comments about DLC because he honestly doesn't know. Because I don't think he controls the game or the ecosystem or anything. I think, or what's going to be published or what's going to be pushed out. I honestly think he doesn't have a fucking clue what's going to happen with this game, and I don't think he has for a while.
Okay, fair enough. Brad, I mean, you're looking for a gig right now. I mean, I think you send your fucking resume right now to fucking Hello. I think you send it and you go, listen, let me fucking help you. Let me be the voice of reason for any of your future communications. I don't know. Just a thought.
That would be awesome.
Definitely help him. All right. So I know, God. Okay, finally something that's not triggering and just fucking amazing. So a lot of did we talk about? I don't know if we ended up talking about the South Park smell-o-vision technology, Brad. Not last week, but the week before. I think it had happened. But you want to take this one and explain what happened at Gamescom for the Noculus Rift or the Noculus Rift, or however the fuck you say it.
So basically, at Gamescom, people got to play South Park, the new South Park.
Right, the Fractured Butthole. Yeah.
Yeah, and they got to try on this device that basically makes you smell farts when farts happen in the game. The fully functional mask makes use of the sensors activated through the inaudible sound waves from the in-game fart sound to trigger the odor's puff. Each time the sensors are activated, a smell will be released meticulously and without mercy, according to their press release. I mean, this is next-gen gaming. I mean,
so this is blowing me away because I saw the Noculus Rift or the Noculus Rift or however they described it. I saw the parody, what I thought was a parody commercial, right? In regards to also
everybody thought
advertising
it was
the game.
fake. Yeah.
No one thought it was real. So the fact that they actually made this hardware and worked with famous French perfume specialists, to actually make this thing is just, anyway. Anyway, that's awesome. Going that level to troll.
Some actual serious videos about the research done here.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah, it's no. So the actual device exists because obviously watching the original video, you're like, oh, that looks like they just threw something together that lights up with green LEDs, right, on the face. But lo and behold, they actually worked on the technology. So that's pretty cool.
Well, I just kind of hope this and Rift kind of just blend, and then that way, just basically almost all your senses are basically in some kind of reality. Now, being a fart necessarily.
Yeah, I'm not as into the fart.
The thing. I don't think people actually want to smell things because you'd only want to smell the stuff that's pleasant. But let me think of all the games I play where I would be in an environment that I would want to smell. Yeah. Let's think about that. Doom, probably not. I don't know. Call of Duty. I don't know that I want to smell corpses and flesh.
Well, you're thinking about it wrong though. I mean,
you walk into Burger Town in Modern Warfare 2. That probably smells pretty good.
What about RPG games though? I think that would just completely different level of immersion for the nerds that spend hours customizing, their characters, completely get involved with the lore and everything else, to be able to actually smell, experience, smells the scenery, the environment. Maybe you go into a building, you smell the cooking, whatever.
Maybe, but that's cooking. What I mean is that I feel like there are only a few times where you'd want to smell something because you'd only want to smell the stuff that smells good.
Yeah, and I mean,
it's hard to say without
catering it.
I don't care if South Park becomes more realistic. I don't really want farts in my gameplay experience.
Yeah.
I don't want to play Dark Souls and then, sure, I bet Firelink Shrine smells pretty good, but I don't want to smell Blighttown. That probably smells like ass.
Exactly. Couldn't agree more.
I'm just saying that it doesn't necessarily have to be related to solely you guys are just thinking of the gruesome things, but maybe it's a room setup or something where maybe if it could even change humidity or just the way your room feels or something like that would be awesome.
Yeah,
and just kind of I mean there's endless possibilities with this kind of stuff, and I just think it's another thing that could be tapped into, and I think could really help with
yeah, I can see two sides of that, where one for say Skyrim, you walk into a bakery or something like that, and you're just overwhelmed with great smells that really make you feel like you're there. But at the same time, I think the idea of having it, so you can smell things in this area, but for all the people that want to, if it's selective, for a game where if you don't want to smell the bad areas, then you have to have certain areas where you can smell and certain areas where you can't. And if you can smell the bad areas, then people are going to turn that off. And if it's selective like that, I just feel like it'd be really inconsistent. And the idea would have to. I don't see it applying to an entire game like that. I could see little tech demos or something where that's catered to that area.
Yeah,
But,
using the experience.
Not for an
I also
entire game.
think I think if we were to see this technology, I think we would see it come first to to movies, perhaps.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Because I think with movies they could at least curate that
I
experience in a
actually
way you
think
can't
they
do it with games.
kind of have something like that with movies. I don't know if you guys have ever been to like some of the Vegas shows or something like that, but if you go to like
Yeah.
M&M World, if I remember right, I think they did smells, they had fans, they had shakes, shaking the seats. I mean, they had just about everything that kind of get you immersed.
Yeah, I've been like
Yeah,
at
dude,
Universal
scratch and
Studios. Yeah. It but yeah, the difference would be like the technology if it was actually if it does become something where, like you said, it's actually in the VR headset. There's also the smell possibility. That would actually be pretty
I
cool.
think
man.
yeah, I think we shouldn't hate on it till we try it.
All right. Fair enough.
What would
So-
you
So
think?
this just in, Brad likes farts. That's what I got from this discussion.
Brad
right.
has a fart smelling fetish and he is ordering his own.
Fetish. Wow.
Well, I mean, I'm not the one. I mean, you're the one who's getting hard. Anyway, how do I know that?
Okay.
How much would you guys pay for the
Where is this
technology
going?
to be able
Okay.
to smell something? No, like to buy the technology to be able to smell in games. Like, what's the investment?
To
could
me,
see?
it's not anything that I'm interested in. To be honest, right now, like there was no amount of. I mean,
I feel like it's not something
I
I
don't
pay
care.
for.
yeah, not right now. Not unless it was like demonstrated to people were just like raved about it and were like, oh, it totally takes your experience to the next level. But yeah, right now, that doesn't interest me at all. I don't really care about smelling my games, personally.
But I mean,
$100
I
bucks.
also don't completely disagree with Brad that it's. I mean, it feels like perhaps a logical next step from VR is to
Yeah.
continue immersing you in the experience. Like you're saying, if you walk into Skyrim and you walk into a bakery and you start smelling bread, or let's say before you even get to the bakery, there's like this
You
faint
smell it
smell
from
of bread.
outside.
I mean, that could 100%. That could be really, really cool.
Well, we already know the application that's going to be in advertising to fat fucks like me and just in general.
That's true.
Like companies
Walking
are going to use
walking
this.
around Grand Theft Auto, maybe you smell McDonald's.
Absolutely no, 100%. Like joke, but like the more you're saying this, the more that I know that it's just going to
Oh,
be
that's
used for
it.
advertising. Like like smelling McDonald's or whatever else like that.
Man,
people
don't
wanna-
you guys just love that new shoe smell? Foot Locker.
exactly. You walk by like a foot. Like dude.
Yeah, actually,
Right.
you know what? You're right. This 100% will exist because the advertising opportunity is too big.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Player abandonment when they would go through the fast food area is just really high. Everybody turns off their game and gets in their car just to. order pizza.
No. Here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna walk in, right? You're gonna smell your McDonald's. You're gonna walk in and you're gonna order your McDonald's from within the game,
Holy
And then it's
shit!
delivered to you.
and they're
Then
gonna
it's
deliver it to you.
Well, wasn't it like last year the Xbox One added an app that like would allow you to order like pizza while you're playing a game or
I
something
think
like that?
WoW has slash pizza.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's so cool. Oh man, that would really. If there's a game, does that exist now where you can walk into like a pizza place and then order pizza like in real life, like through the game? Like
Probably.
I would love that. Like just, I mean, you know what? I'll probably just order pizza.
Some people in chat are talking about the porn possibilities with the smell, and I personally like. I love this.
No one likes
sweaty,
this.
bodily swell of.
I mean, if there's any domain in which I demand unparalleled realism, that would be it.
There have been
Like-
some really good suggestions in chat, like shower with your dad simulator. That'd be great with
Oh,
smell.
my God.
But cooking mama, that's a great one.
Yeah, anything having to do with cooking would obviously be awesome.
and terrible for your actual waistline or diet, because if you were in a cooking game, just smelling all the I mean, we're joking about it now, and it sounds like, but I know in like 20 years or whatever, it's just gonna be the norm. It's like, oh man, turn off GTA. I'm smelling that Mickey D's. You're gonna kick me off my diet again. I already made fucking tasteless chicken breasts in the with broccoli. Shut that game down. All right. Well, okay. Let's move on. But yeah, that's really cool that they actually made that mask. So, Brad, this news, I think you described it as Nvidia laptops get good. So is that did you write that?
Yeah, I did write that. So basically, I heard about this a while ago. It was kind of hinted by a friend of mine. But basically, what Nvidia is doing is they are stuffing the GTX 1080, 1070. Oh, this is quick hits, by the way. I don't think we mentioned that.
Sorry, we are transitioning. Yes, sure.
Yes, but they're dropping the quote unquote mobile series graphics processors and just straight up putting the ones you would get in your desktop solution and putting it in a laptop. And we're going to see GTX 1080, 1070, and 1060 in these laptops. As far as the specs go, I think it's pretty much the same across the board. The only thing that really stands out is for some reason we're going to see a little lower clock speeds. I'm guessing just because of thermal issues. But for some reason, the 1070 GTX actually has more CUDA cores. Not sure what's up with that. But yeah, we're seeing full-fledged gaming laptops with desktop GPUs in them, and that blows my mind. Nvidia GPUs are getting that efficient that we can afford to put them in our laptops now. We haven't seen any battery life tests or anything like that, but you could check out Paul's Hardware or Tech Syndicate or something like that online, and they played around with these laptops, and they were playing 120 hertz displays. That's a new thing Nvidia is trying to do. G-Sync 1440p.
Damn. Awesome.
Oh, yeah. Some of these had 4K G-Sync screens too, which even for a 1080 is pushing it. But I mean, that's just the way we're going to see our laptops in the future, I think. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's cool to see that these parts are obviously smaller because like they have a screenshot of a Razer Blade, and it's not, they're clearly not putting a desktop video card into a laptop because the Razer Blade's still very thin. It's just that I think they've dropped the M because the clock speeds and the cores are now pretty close to their desktop counterparts, where I mean, pretty much.
No, it's from what I was told, it is pretty much the same GPU.
Well, right. I just mean like they don't have the desktop cooler on it or anything. It's not like they're actually taking the retail video card you can buy in the store and putting it in a laptop.
Right.
But because the clock speeds are now really close to the desktop counterparts, they're just dropping the M. Whereas before, the M designation was pretty important because like the difference between a 970M and a 970 was pretty big. So it's cool to see those differences shrinking. And laptop gaming with every generation of video card, I feel like laptop gaming becomes more and more viable. Where I have a laptop from 2012 that was a great gaming laptop back then, by laptop standards, but was still not a great machine. Like it was not the thing I'd want to game on at home, if I had any other options. Whereas now I think laptops are getting to the point where, especially if you're just gaming on the laptop screen, if you're not plugging it into an external screen, the laptops are plenty fast to play games on, which is always great to see.
Alrighty.
That was it.
I'm living in the future, guys. I mean, am I right or am I right? I mean, I'm over here with my fucking Acer laptop with its fucking integrated video, so I might have to upgrade here. I mean, again, I don't know the price points exactly. Is that in the article? I mean, I'm sure they're very expensive.
Yeah,
no, they're going to be
these
expensive.
these ones with like 4K screens or G-Sync, 120 hertz G-Sync laptop screens. I imagine those are quite pricey.
I don't even I'm running 1080p at 144 without G-Sync. Like I'll buy a laptop that has a higher resolution.
I can only imagine some of the prices on these.
That would be crazy. All right. Well, we're going to try to power through these. I know I've been triggered on multiple times, and this is going to be probably a Katie Zen trigger if I had to guess.
Ooh.
I would love to take this.
Let it
Go
rip.
ahead, Katie. Let it rip. Go ahead. Start.
Okay, so let's get into some news from Gamescom, which happened last week.
Yeah.
And starting off, let's play a game. I'm going to describe a. So this will be catering to someone who obviously does not know about the newest title in the Metal Gear series, but let's say hypothetically, the newest game in the Metal Gear Solid series, which is being made without Kojima,
Yes.
is a. So the premise is at the very end of Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, spoilers, where Mother Base is raided and Snake makes it out, and one of the schmucks, one of just random soldier guys on Mother Base, gets sucked into a wormhole and put into another dimension where he must fight zombie-like creatures in a 4-player co-op game. Doesn't matter if you believe me or not, because unfortunately that's the truth we're faced with. Metal Gear Survive is
I love that. It's just called. I also love
it's
too.
happening.
You go from like Ground Zero to like Metal Gear Survive. It's just like how generic could we get? How generic can we go?
Survive. Oh, but the V in Survive, because Metal Gear Solid 5. I mean, the engine for Metal Gear Solid 5. There's more to be done with that. So that's what we have here. So.
And I really recommend if you haven't actually, because I saw all the outrage online when this was announced at Gamescom, and I didn't get around to watching the trailer till earlier tonight, and I cannot stress enough how fucking plain and garbage. Like, this was their announcement trailer, and there's a moment at the end of it where one of the characters fires his compound bow that, oh my god, when it sticks into the zombie, explodes, and they like build up this whole part to this like one section, and like I was waiting for like a nuke to go off, or maybe like the compound bow arrow, like maybe it turned into a robot or something. No, it just explodes like like you've seen a million times, and I was just like, do they think this is cool? Like, is this a troll? And then after, spoilers again if you haven't seen it, there's a part where like the 4 players are like standing around after they've cleared some zombies, and you hear like, well, I'm just doing it horrible, but should be like loud footsteps of some kind of alien Godzilla creature coming, and then it just cuts off, and it's just what is this? Is this like 10 years ago before there were like zombie and alien games and co-op? Like, it just seems so fucking tone deaf. Which I guess it's Konami, so why would we be shocked?
Yeah, like legitimately, the reaction I got from this feels like if a company like Ubisoft or something got their hands on the Metal Gear IP and just made something just the most plain cash in. Now, it's important to realize
I was about to say EA doesn't look so bad now, does it?
Yeah, oh god, Konami is if people still think, EA is the worst company, they don't know what the fuck Konami is doing. You could write books about all the things Konami has done like the past 2 or 3 years to just slight and fuck over their community and their games. But so Metal Gear Survive is not going to be a full-priced game. It's because it's in another dimension, I guess. It's going to be completely separate from the Metal Gear series. It's going to take place, I guess, while the Phantom Pain went on. But
at least it's not canon.
Exactly, yeah. So
that's the good news, yeah.
I've been looking at a lot of the comments from the community's reaction, and a surprising amount of people are saying, why are they making this? They could have just, they could have remade Metal Gear Solid 3 or Metal Gear Solid 1. That would have been great. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, why would you rather have them take what is already good, and ruin it without Kojima? Yeah. And worst case scenario, this game turns out to be admittedly fun co-op stealth game, despite being the Metal Gear IP, and it's completely harmless, but just sucks because they're making Metal Gear without Kojima. That's worst case scenario for this game for me. I don't
look at the bright side. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I mean, I'll drop 60 on it, but
well, no. The good news is, though, I did see that this isn't going to be a $60 title. They're going to do it in the same kind of way as they did with Ground Zeroes, where you bought like the first, I forget the exact pricing scheme that they ended up doing with that, but
I think it was 30 for Ground Zeroes.
I think it ended up being 30 or whatever. So
Mhm.
that I don't think it's going to be a $60 title, but
God, but if it's filled with microtransactions or things like
Wow.
that, just scummy practices,
Yeah. Just expect the worst, and maybe it won't be the worst thing ever.
expect this to link you to a patchy slot machine like Metal Gear Solid 3. If you guys don't know, I don't know if we talked about this, but they took Metal Gear Solid 3 and completely remade it in the new engine.
Right.
Like in the Fox engine, it looks beautiful, but it's only available through a patchy slot casino machine, and you basically a slot machine in Japan.
Right.
That's the way it's available through. I don't know if we talked about it, but
Really?
just yeah, it's they.
Well,
coded made a full game.
that's how they make most of their money actually over there. Is they actually make slot machines. So
Interesting.
Yeah, but just Metal Gear Survive. That has happened.
All right. Definitely watch the trailer. You'll be blown away by how fucking generic and shitty it looks. So
Yeah. But so next up, also entirely me, Nier Automata, which is the newest Platinum Games game coming out, which I'm beyond excited for. Even more excited now. It was only going to be available on PS4, but it's been announced it's going to be released on Steam as well through a pretty good trailer with the Yoko Taro putting like a valve to his like fake mask eye, but it was the most Yoko Taro way they could have announced that. But yeah, I'm excited to play that because I'm sure it's gonna look miles better than the console version.
Especially on your brand new 144 hertz screen.
Yes, yeah, you know it.
that's right.
God, please don't be capped at 60 FPS, please. I find that like every game now, I'm just me praying, don't be capped. That's a thing I haven't had to worry about before. But so also from Gamescom is got some news that a Mass Effect remaster is likely to happen for the newer gen consoles and PC. So someone want to take this?
it's just basically a year ago they were asked if they would look at remastering the older games, which if you've gone back and played any of the earlier Mass Effects, even the latest Mass Effect is a little rough around the edges. They said they wouldn't remaster them because they wanted to focus on completely, on the new IP that they're making. But here at Gamescom, they said that people spoke up and they heard that they wanted it, and they're looking at it, and so they're looking to work with their partners in Activision, and then maybe see about getting it done. But it's all kind of skeptical. I think we're gonna see probably the new game before we even see a remaster, personally. But yeah, that's kind of interesting news that came out of Gamescom. So Mass Effect fans should be happy.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fucking terrible franchise, but I mean, whatever. I'm just kidding. I've never played it. I'm just going to trigger. I hope somebody turned off the cast right when I said that. I actually have all the games queued up. I need to actually play them.
I was about to say,
I have them all queued up.
That's the perfect kind of game for you to play, I think, Scott,
Yeah.
because it's kind of like your interaction choices really influence how the end game works.
Yeah.
It's kind of almost like Telltale, but more involved. Where
Right. Well, I also have been told if I play that because of all the purists, like I'll make decisions that will really tilt people in chat. Will be like, "Oh my God, you're affecting." You don't know what you're affecting right now, which I'm sure will happen, but it'll be fun to just fuck around and do that for sure. You played all the games, Brad? You're caught up?
no, the first one
okay.
bored me to death. So
Oh, okay.
But I hear the second and third ones are actually really good. So
Cool.
Yeah, if I'm not killing something in the first 10 minutes, I'm bored. So that's kind of the way I play
Yeah.
games.
It's funny. It goes for your real life too. Usually,
I know.
if you're not, that's what you told me the first time we met. You're like, "Are we gonna kill somebody, or is this friendship over?" I was like, "Brad, we've been here 10 minutes." Anyway, I don't want to go into it.
Anytime I go to a new state, it happens. But
Yeah, a lot of unsolved murders, but
I don't know where this is going, but anyways,
Hopefully not prison.
Oh god. Some more Gamescom news is Gears of War 4 PC specs were revealed, so it is indeed happening, of course. And it's pretty beefy, I'm not gonna lie. Ideal they recommend is a i7 980 Ti or GTX 1080.
Wow.
16 gigs of RAM, okay?
Okay.
And then an SSD with 80 gigs for your storage. Like,
I mean, that does
holy
sound like the ideal PC to play a game on.
Yeah. But I mean, normally you get minimum recommended and recommended, you know, if like The Witcher. The Witcher had pretty decent like recommended specs if I recall correctly, and respectfully so. But for, you know, a studio to just come out and say, yeah, you're gonna need this to play it, like to get the best experience, ideally, like that's what we think you should play this on at least, like, and just go out and say, yeah, you need a GTX 1080, pretty up there.
But you know what
I,
your
even play this on
minimum
my-
OS version should
I
be.
was just
Scott, if you have not updated to Windows 10 anniversary
I was
update, you do
just
not
about-
meet the minimum specs for this game. I'm sorry.
good. I was just about to say, I bet you that they're telling me that if I have Windows 7, I probably can't play this game.
Yep.
I bet
You are not at min spec, my friend. Sorry to say.
They're gonna pry Windows 7 out of my cold, dead hands. I'm telling you, dude. Until it actually, like, they physically come and remove it from my computer. I don't care when they, because I still get the occasional updates for Windows 7 from, from Microsoft. But even if it's like the biggest security loophole in the world, I'm still gonna be using it. So,
Well, I mean, we say that now, though, that it'll be restricted to Windows 10. But look at Quantum Break. I think it was just last week that they revealed that it won't be on just Windows 10 anymore. So just give it time. I'm sure we'll see, it go to other OSs as well. But that was it for Gamescom. All that we really thought that stood out to us. Maybe Katie's End could. It looks like what's going on here with Dark Souls.
So
just call it Dork Souls, by the way.
Dork Souls. Are
Okay.
you want to fucking fight me or no?
Sorry, I was saying what I was thinking. My bad.
Oh, I see.
Wow.
I see.
Wow.
Hey, when's the next episode of Old Man of Optic gonna come out?
Oh.
Hutch.
Oh, I see what he did there. I was initially confused, and I was like, "Oh yeah, it's Hutch." Right, Hutch does that.
I tried. I don't think that's gonna compare the VHS jokes.
I saw what you did. I saw what you did, though. I appreciate.
There's like 3 people listening who thought that joke was funny.
Okay. Well, there are more than 3 people listening that'll appreciate this news.
Yes. Good segue.
So, a few days ago, the official Dark Souls Twitter finally shed some light on the DLC or any kind of new content for Dark Souls 3. They said they posted a picture saying Ashen Ones, a major announcement is forthcoming on August 24th. And they were very vague about it. They said, what is it?
Announcement of the
You're gonna have
announcement. Love it.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's very meta.
Can I just say how much of a neckbeard like you have to be to enjoy this shit? A major announcement is forthcoming. Like, who says that? A major announcement is forthcoming. Why don't you just say like how it should be said, like in a normal.
We'll tell you. Well, you'll know. We'll tell at this date.
Big announcement on August 24th. No, a major.
Okay, you know what?
announcement.
I thought this was like pretty dumb until I looked at the thread of the replies to this tweet.
The replies are amazing.
And so this one guy replies, I remember when news included details instead of trying to generate hype based on nothing. And the Dark Souls Twitter account replies to him, cool.
Wow.
And then someone
that
else
is
asks, well, what is it? And the Dark Souls Twitter replies, memes.
Okay. Well, what is it is actually like a Dark Souls like in joke. So that's a meme of itself.
probably gonna be some gay shit like Harambe boss.
Wait, hold on. If they made a Harambe boss, I would drop 60 on that.
That would be amazing.
Listen, don't. There's nothing better. They could make the best bosses in Souls history in this new DLC, but I don't think anything could match a Harambe boss. I don't think you understand.
Can I also
yeah, there's
just,
a lot.
Can I also just say how fast these people that try to be cool backtrack after a fucking verified account responds to them? Like he had that tweet, and then you didn't read the response, Brandon, but his response was, "LOL, at least you responded quick. Let me just say, no game has generated more rage from me ever. GG, guys."
Oh yeah,
man, the
turn around real fast.
Nice, dude. So you actually try to be sarcastic, and when you get a response, you just fall over yourself like a fucking. Oh my God! He just melted like butter that the gods responded to him. Get the fuck out of here!
I got ya. Just a joke.
You can't.
I was just kidding. I'm not actually upset. Lol. Love your franchise. Lol. I'm out.
Can't stand the heat. Get out the kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. He should have just doubled down on his hate, dude. Double down, like
fuck you guys. Yeah. No, but the tweet after that says, seriously though, this is from the Dark Souls Twitter, said, seriously though, the week wait will be worth it. No BS this time.
Whoever's running the Dark Souls Twitter probably felt bad because they were like, oh, we burned this guy so bad, he completely backtracked. So they had to pour some cold water on that one.
Yeah, they did. You're right. They had to come in. God.
So I guess we'll be hearing about whatever they decide to announce later this week and next week's cast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is the announcement of their announcement of the announcement that in next week's cast we will have their announcement. So be here. I hope that's not convoluted at all, because that was very clear to me as I said it.
When the news comes out, I'll be making an announcement on KBMOD Twitter to clarify that we will be confirming this announcement and detailing it on the next podcast.
There you go.
Just to clarify.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Well, that's going to do it for the quick hits. We had a lot of good news section. I'm sorry. When I say good news section, it means I can tell my blood pressure is still high from all that. So I'm sorry for how long that went. But Katie's new releases. Keep it going.
All right. So got some good ones.
This first one. Oh, God.
So if you've been on the fence about VR, I'm happy to announce that the medium has reached its peak. This game is called Watching Grass Grow in VR, the game. It's left somewhat ambiguous what you do in this game, as not only do you watch grass grow, but there's a point where there's a truck across the street throwing grenades. And there's the player character has a rocket launcher, and a dog walks onto his lawn in the trailer, and he just shoots the dog with the rocket launcher. So I can only expect that HTC Vive sales will only rise exponentially with the release of this title. I do want to point out about this game, there's a quote, somewhat kind of a review saying, "We're going to look back and point to this garbage like this when we try to figure out why VR flopped." A quote from the press.
I mean, at least there's
111.
At least they're self-aware, but that doesn't excuse the fact that this is still getting made.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like I can appreciate that they're like, yeah, like I'm part of the problem, but they're still. I mean, is it free? Is it a free thing?
I doubt.
I don't see a price. So yeah, if it's free, then whatever. But my God, that fucking trailer, dude. It looks like such fucking horrible.
This is a gag worth maybe a minute of your time that'll probably end up costing like $5.
Oh God.
But
August 22nd. I admittedly have not grown many plants, but I don't think an RPG is typically part of that process. So this game does not look very realistic to me.
Yeah, not at all. That's points taken off. But that game apparently unlocks in 2 hours. If you're listening to,
you're really eager.
Stream. Yeah. So look out for that. But on to something that's not quite shitty. It's not shitty at all. We have the newest Worms game, Worms WMD, which features hand-drawn 2D graphics, and the first trailer is actually really cool. It looks like a lot of the weapons are cameos for other games. For there's a Rocket League weapon where one of the cars comes up on the map and like blows up things. Like I assume everybody's familiar with Worms. There's
I used to love
or-
Worms back in the day.
oh yeah, yeah. It's gonna be 30. Playing this online with other people will probably be a lot of fun. But
We
yeah,
gotta
there's
do
other
that.
stuff.
Worms is a series I've never played. I've watched people play it. It just looks
okay.
looks so fun. Yeah, we got to do that. I'll pick this up.
It'd be a good community night. It looks like
Yeah.
it's I think the version I played only supported like 4 people, but from the screens here, it looks like about maybe 10, maybe more.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some cool weapons from like Payday 2, Team Fortress 2, Ukulele, some pretty good cameos in there. But that's coming out on the 23rd, and it's going to be $29.99. So look out for that. And next up, the big one this week, Deus Ex: Mankind Divided. After a couple of pretty big delays, is now being released on August 23rd. I can't wait to play this.
Me either. Very excited. Been talking about this for months. So.
Oh yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think I pre-ordered enough to get the what was it, the mission and like the gold guns, whatever they my pre-order was not augmented enough. So
well, it's all right.
Yeah, that
of
does
us-
happen.
Yeah.
oh well.
Sometimes you just have to go with God gave you, and it's not impressive, but
I mean, who
You
do
deal
I have
with
to
it.
blame but myself? I'll never be able to play this mission now because I didn't pre-order.
Yeah,
Well, you know what?
how-
Actually, I don't even know.
How did you not buy the digital deluxe edition bundle?
yeah.
I wanted
What
Wendy's.
kind of fool are you?
I'm a
I wanted Wendy's
idiot.
fondue, and look what it cost you. A level,
Yeah.
a full level in Deus
Yep.
Ex Human Revolution, or
That's,
the Mankind Divided. I keep doing that, but.
It's a regret I'll take to my
And
grave.
already, I just have to say, I've been staying spoiler free, but I've just been kind of taking a look at, because a lot of the reviews have come out, and it's PC Gamer gave it 88 out of 100, obviously. So
Wow.
I'm pretty excited. Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
It looks really good too. Like,
Yeah.
really beautiful. But yeah, August 23rd, $60. And but finally, I have a game called Abduction, which is from the creators of the games Myst and Riven, which I know are like really like
Those are
loved and
classics.
respected by. Yeah, those are classics. I haven't played those.
Is
but,
it in the same style? Oh, it is. Look at that.
yeah, it looks like it.
It's very beautiful looking.
Yeah, it looks pretty promising. That's going to come out on August 24th. It's got a pretty cool premise. And so no word on the price, though, but keep a lookout.
That's abduction with an O.
So, oh, okay.
No, I was
Is it bad
clarifying.
that I read that?
Clarifying for audio listeners, because in case it's not clear, it's an O.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, not an A.
sounded like abduction.
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 Is it bad that I read that and didn't even notice that it was like not the proper spelling of the word?
Well, I mean, that does say something about you. Yes.
Okay. I'm not qualified to be on this podcast.
Okay. He goes, okay. All right. Well, thank you,
But,
Katie, for that was good. Other
Yeah,
than the
some good
first
stuff
one, the
this
rest of the last three look like pretty solid potential titles. I mean, I don't want
Wait.
to sleep on watching grass grow in VR, but
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
just
Can you imagine if you could smell the grass?
oh my god, Cameron. There you go. Yeah,
That's
you're right.
actually-
Yeah,
You know what? You're right. That game would actually be more appealing if you had the smell of fresh cut grass.
Yes.
Won me over with at
And
least
you thought
one
he was
game.
crazy.
Yep. Crazy like a fox.
there you go. All right. Well, we're gonna get into the Twitter questions here. The first one comes from Mark Hand, not March. It's either March and or Mark Hand. Could be either. But he's got an underscore at the end of his name in case you want to follow him. Do you use incognito for anything besides porn? What a question.
Wow.
What a question. I mean,
Buying
I'm
stuff.
insulted that he would ever assume that that
Yeah, I think
people
the
use
premise
incognito for
of
porn.
that question assumes that
Yeah,
I
excuse
that I
me?
look at anything
Exactly.
even
And that's
remotely
offensive.
resembling porn,
Exactly.
which clearly I don't. And I never
I'm gonna say straight up, I use incognito to browse the CS:GO subreddit because I feel filthy when I go on there. So I use it for that.
I'm surprised you don't use one of your alts, being a redditor and all.
Okay, I have one Reddit
Well, look,
Reddit
every
account,
now and
right.
then Scott needs to know what is on the true Reddit front page.
Exactly. Like, yeah, I don't want to. The sad part is you're actually right about that. It's because I'll just go to Reddit, like not logged in, and be like, all right, what's actually there? You know, not what I've curated. So to answer your question, yes, I have.
You try to become more cultured by seeing what the average person sees on Reddit instead of the like horrific game you've created with your own personalized subreddits.
Right. Right. Katie, what do you use incognito for?
Listen,
Katie's not old enough to look at porn, so we have to assume that he would use it for other purposes.
You could
or
just
not
get
use
it from
at all.
Family Video anyway. So I mean,
That's true.
actually, the one I worked at did not have an adult section.
Oh no, really?
Yeah. So when I worked at another store, they had me work at another store one time. They were like short on people, and it was just it was hilarious to me. It's around this like hallway to the side, and there's like a saloon door there saying like no kids, and they just go in and there's just ass everywhere. And there's things like American Horror Story in there too. So if you want to get like adult mature shows and stuff, you have to sift through the Backdoor Sluts 9.
Right. Wow.
You just need a saloon door. That's all you need to filter out.
That'll stop. God, can you imagine how awkward that would be if you're an employee and there's like a child trying to get in there and you have to like, can't go in there. Where are your parents?
What level were the saloon doors at? Because actually, like, children could literally just walk under.
Yeah, there was definitely at a level where they could crawl under it, like, and let alone just open the door.
There was no lock on. There's no lock on.
It's not locked. Yeah.
It doesn't seem like a foolproof system.
Yeah, and it's around a corner too, so like if you're at the counter, you can't see like around there. You can't even see in that area. But yeah, but yeah, I'm going to decline to answer this question because we've already got some dirt this episode. We learned about sexual Dave. There's nothing.
You don't want to share
Where do you think the name came from?
Yeah, you know that Katie, when he's masquerading as sexual Dave online, is definitely in an incognito window. He's not using his normal browser when he wreaks havoc in online forums as sexual Dave.
So we'll leave that open to interpretation.
All right, fair enough. Brad, what about you?
I use incognito for buying stuff.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
If you go look at websites and then, like, let's say you look at something on Amazon and go to Newegg, the prices will change.
Right.
So I look at the products in incognito to see what the actual lowest price is. Because for whatever reason, Newegg jacks all the prices up. Like, they know I'm going to buy something, so
right.
I don't know why, but they use my cookies like, oh, he's been looking at this, I better jack up the prices.
You're in their algorithm.
Yep.
They got you.
Wow,
with their
I did not
cookies.
know that.
That's fucking shady as shit, but I mean, there you go.
Huh.
Tis the cookie life on the internet. Brandon?
Yeah, no, I use incognito quite a bit, mainly just because I'm pretty aware of what sites use cookies for, and you know they use it to track you, but also just like if I'm browsing a page where I don't want it to be remembered in like my account history or something. Like sometimes, as silly as it sounds, like if you're Googling something that you don't want to affect your, your Google experience, and I don't even necessarily mean things that like you're embarrassed to search for. I just mean things that you don't want to influence Google's search algorithm in any way as it associates to your account. It's sort of the same thing as like, like on Amazon, if you're buying a gift or if you're on Netflix and you let someone else watch your Netflix account on your account, it'll taint all of like the suggestions and stuff. So because I'm pretty aware of when something like that might happen, I'll usually use incognito. And it's so easy to do. Like you just Control-Shift in, and it's just a new window in Chrome. So I use incognito quite a bit, but I don't know. It feels second nature to me.
I know what you're talking about. Like especially on Google, like when if you don't want it to affect like something like my erect penis is 1 inch and something like that.
I mean clearly.
Not speaking from personal experience, just things that like you don't want to affect the rest of your. Stuff.
I mean, there are certain things you only search for when you're logged into a VPN and you open an incognito window in a virtual machine.
The layers.
Yeah, I mean, we all have those kinds of days.
Yeah, absolutely. No, but definitely, but not been there myself, but can relate. All right, so our next question,
Brad. Brad, are you incognito when you browse for games in Battlefield 4?
That's a great question.
No.
No, Brad wants that personalized experience.
Yeah.
Actually, I accept Google as my overlord, and I pretty much give them everything on my life.
Yeah.
I would love
I
to
don't
see.
know why.
I'd love to see Brad's search history on his Google account.
Oh, I would and I wouldn't. I feel like
I actually feel like you could, like there's probably some dark stuff you could turn up just from what are otherwise pedestrian search queries. The pattern you could build up would probably scare you.
exactly. Going back to, well, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but I won't bring that up again. But if Brad's not killing somebody, he said it himself. If he's not killing somebody within 10 minutes in a game, he's not interested in it. So just
That's
extrapolate
right.
that to his searches in real life. Okay.
I have, looking at my history, I see this is fine plush dog on a Kickstarter. How to get Sonic Adventure 2 at 144 hertz. So there's some dirt.
That is, wow. That is the Google search history of somebody that's getting laid a lot. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. You must be sore. You must be sore.
I come home to 20 chicks every night.
Oh, man. All right. Moving on. Luke CS asks us, have you ever been recognized in public by any KBMOD viewers or listeners? That's a great question. I mean, if he's talking specifically, I guess he's just talking specifically KBMOD.
I want to hear from the newer members of the cast because I feel like it's kind of cheating. Like at this point, because we've been doing this for like 5 years, if my answer was no, something would be really, really wrong.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, I have actually met people in public, and this was before I was on the podcast or anything like that. I actually was wearing KBMOD merch, and I ran into people on campus. It was actually kind of cool.
That's awesome.
That's neat.
Yeah. I think one's actually a sub in here. He might not be in here anymore, but I think I saw Mr. Squishy, if he's still listening. He goes to Oregon State, so
Nice.
I think
Way to dox him.
Wow, dude. Now everybody's
Wow, he's
sorry.
sorry.
Mr. Squishy goes to school.
Hey,
You
watch.
basically said his first name. Oh, no. There's only one.
Squishy S.
Mr.
Samuel.
Mr. Squishy's going to wish he locked on incognito to listen to the cast.
That's right.
Wish he remained incognito in his everyday life.
Yeah, hadn't said anything to Brad.
But yeah, so I've actually met two people on campus with related to KBMOD, but yeah. What about you, Katie?
Not, well, no, but not through KBMOD. There was a time that I was talking to someone at like the cafeteria at like college, and we're talking about like who we watch like on Twitch.
Did they say,
And he
what
said
is that awful shirt on your, or what is that awful face on your shirt?
Whose face is that? That's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
No, but they brought up APL, and I was like, oh, yeah, okay, you watch APL? Do you know that guy that played Resident Evil 5 with him? He's like, oh yeah, his name's like KD Sen or something, like, right? Like, yeah.
No, time out. Did you plant? That's, oh my.
No, I'm being dead serious.
No, I know you are, but I
Oh
just
my
love the way
God.
that you went
You
around
played it cool
getting
for
to
the big reveal.
That's amazing, dude. Oh, I love how you did that.
Yeah.
So you
that's,
actually got him to say your name, though. You actually got him to say Katie Zen.
I like to think he might have messed it up. I think he got KD right, and then I forget,
That's
but
amazing.
I could definitely see messing up. And I was like, yeah, that's me. He's like, oh shit, no way, dude. Oh,
That's
and then he
cool.
was like asking like how we got in touch, but
That's fucking tactical, right there.
but yeah. But then ask me in like a month from now, and well, I like to think not a month, but gonna have lunch with Hicks. Who,
Oh, nice.
At
Yeah.
the canal. Yeah,
Yes,
that would count.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, that would be a connection through that. But I mean, not in the same way of getting like just straight up having. I mean, you knew him through the stream, right? Or you knew him through KBMOD or whatever already.
Yeah, yeah.
I've had in regards to KBMOD, I have had wearing a T-shirt. I've had that happen a couple times, where people are like, "Oh, KBMOD," but mostly just like I've had weird experience. Like most of the time, if I'm at a con and stuff, like that makes more sense. But I've told the story already. This wasn't necessarily KBMOD related, but being at Target, that dude just like it's always it's not necessarily KBMOD, but it's always like inbox. It's like said to be like, "Oh, I loved you on Inbox with Sark," like not even looking at me, like they're back to me.
Not your real claim to fame.
No. So all my KBMOD interactions though have been pretty solid, but I've had a lot of creepy interactions in regards to like Machinima and my own channel. So where I would think that like I don't know, for some reason I think the KBMOD interactions would be creepier, but it's been, I guess not actually, when you consider the Inbox show and the shit we used to do. So whoever, and then by the way, if you were the guy that interacted with me creepily at Target, please don't hurt me. I still shop at that Target occasionally, and even though it was a little bit odd, everything's fine, and I don't hate you. Okay, just want to get that out there. Gotta cover my bases. You never know. Can never be too careful. But yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome as far as like, I mean, KBMOD isn't the biggest entity, but KBMOD's one of those things. Like, when we used to talk about this when we go to cons, like a lot of people would know about KBMOD that we wouldn't expect to know that we exist. I don't know if that makes any kind of sense. Or at least did in the past, where people were like, "Oh yeah, like I know you guys have been doing a podcast forever. I know I'm familiar with the website." I think a lot of that stuff obviously has helped. The charity stuff we do every year with Extra Life.
It's always
is definitely a big part of it.
Surprising to me,
but there's a lot of people that know about it.
I'll occasionally run into someone who knows the website and doesn't know me or my affiliation with it, but they just know the website as its own thing. And that always surprises me that people will run across either a build guide or like a review or some article, and then like I'll tell them, oh yeah, I'm part of that. We do a podcast and stuff, and that's always really neat. But yeah, I've been recognized. I'm trying to think outside of conventions, because conventions, like I said, is kind of cheating.
Convention.
I don't know.
When people cross your path, do their knees just buckle?
No, well, I mean, no, because my face is not actually the KBMOD A face.
Oh,
So I know that like you probably now just permanently associate that image with my actual face, but it's actually, to most people it's not.
Brandon, we need to get you some training so that, I mean, I don't think it'd be possible, but if you can somehow contort your face to ever look even 20% like
everyone
the face
else
on the
can
shirt.
wear the KBMOD A masks, and I will just attempt to contort my actual face into that shape.
It would be pretty tough. But
we'll see. That may be tough. We'll have to get like some clothespins or something.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's always cool to see people in public and occasionally get recognized. Like I think I mentioned this, but a guy that has frequented the channel for a long time happened to show up at the Twitch office and is like friends with someone's son who works at Twitch, and that was really cool. Caught by surprise.
cool.
Very, very cool. All right.
Sorry to interrupt, but I was just going through my Google searches real quick. Here's some of the ones that stand out.
God.
Uh,
Go ahead.
And this is just the last couple days, but the Diddler Flying Lotus. Shit posting time.
Oh,
What? Oh, you were looking for a GIF, weren't you?
God.
Yeah. Plasma needle. Camper van. Gaffer tape.
What?
Thank you.
What?
Can we go back, like you said, Brandon, that some of these searches
See?
would definitely make you go, like, what is going on about
I
Brad?
know.
Yeah, Brad.
Surf competitions on ESPN.
This is darker than we thought.
This is very dark. Oh, no.
It gets worse. Passport turnaround time.
No. You need to delete your Google search history. I'm not kidding.
You're on a list, dude.
that has to go.
Fedora.
Oh, my God.
Ohio.
Oh.
Harambe.
Yes. What can they piece together from this?
Oh my god. And that's just the last couple days. So I think before we get into the last question, I think homework for next week would, if you have any search history, you should see if you can find some interesting ones and bring it back next week.
I thought you were going to say delete it, but
Well,
fair
you
enough.
can delete it afterwards, but I think you guys should bring some next week. So
All right,
I'll do some more digging too. But.
That'll be good.
I think I turned my search history off for this exact reason.
yeah.
Like,
So-
I actually don't want to be able to see.
You know,
I'm just saying. Anyways, let's get to the last question.
All right. Last question comes from Brian via email, and he asked us if you suddenly gain access to the internet from 100 years from now for 1 hour, what would you look up?
Oh man, you can look up a
My-
lot of things. Now,
My search history.
God.
Harambe is like a religion now.
Suddenly
my
gain
first-
access to the internet from 100 years from now. God, 100 years.
My first reaction is immediately Half-Life 3.
See if
really
it actually
simple.
came out.
Yeah,
That's
I just
good.
need to know.
Um,
It'd probably be like Half-Life 4 and 5 by 100 years.
so you got 1 hour. That's a decent amount of time. Like if he had said like 30 seconds, that's really like that would really make me. But I think 1 hour access to the internet for 1 hour, 100 years
Well-
from now, you could pretty much cover all your bases. I mean,
I feel like you'd have to. Here's the thing, though. You would only be able to use the internet based on what you know now. And so, like, first thing you would do is you'd probably go to Google. But what if Google doesn't exist? What if you go to google.com and that just doesn't resolve? Then, like, what do you even
Oh,
do?
man.
yeah,
How do you find out where to go? Because I'm thinking I would want to see what the top sites are 100 years from now. That's like, wait a minute, what if Alexa doesn't exist? Or what if, like, the various sites where you can kind of see popularity? What if none of those exist? Like,
just
I would-
type it in here.
I thought you were talking about a porn star. When you said Alexa,
Alexa.
I was like, Brad,
Oh my
like,
God.
porn? What is he doing?
Listen, I know what I would do for the first 20 minutes. I would see how far porn has advanced.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, to
actually a
be
good
honest,
call.
like we know we're all like 1 hour is a lot of time. So once you like figured out how to search, I think you would just go through it. Like you'd see like, I don't know, man, like technology. You could do like political, like see the current political climate. I mean, I think an hour is a
Oh, yeah.
lot of time to spend.
Yeah, actually,
Oh,
I mean,
I'd see.
this question presupposes that 100 years from now we're not in like a anarchy state where the internet is still the free internet we know today. When undoubtedly, when Donald Trump becomes president, like the internet will not be what we think it is today.
Yeah, that's a good point. No, you're probably right on that.
I would want to search my name and see if I can find anything, because my life would have progressed normally.
What if 100 years from now you search like, because that like you can find your username on Google, like you have a YouTube channel,
Oh,
you
God.
have Twitter, and you search your name and there is zero results 100 years from now.
Yeah, man.
Not even cataloged. You're like, oh man, that would feel bad. I mean, not
You
that
type in,
we're gonna be remembered in 100 years, but just with information like when you say like it's on the internet, it's there forever somehow. You have been totally erased. Dang, get on that tinfoil hat.
You type in Katie Zen, it just redirects you to Live Jasmine.
Oh man,
That'd be a happy outcome.
Katie's I would have to search sexual Dave to find any.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing.
That's
though.
like
If-
the name of the site.
If you were to search your name, there's kind of one of two outcomes. Either you have become famous enough or noteworthy enough to have a Wikipedia article that would include your date of death. So you would find out when you died,
Yeah.
or you would never
you're still
have been
alive?
you would never have been prominent enough to have any newsworthy any news articles about you.
Yeah, good
So
point.
which is the worst outcome?
That's a good point. Like, do you want to know the date of your death, or do
Because
you
like I don't
wanna
even mean
just
major
not-
celebrity. Like you could be a real minor celebrity and have a date of death on Wikipedia.
Oh, sure.
Well, yeah, I think in the future you wouldn't even have to be a celebrity because like the way information
find-
is
yeah.
evolving, you're gonna find
obituaries,
things like that.
I
for,
mean,
Oh, that's
Facebook
true.
highlights
Yeah,
when people die now. So.
that's
Yeah.
true.
Yep, it's a good point.
Right. Would any of
Porn.
your login information still even work in 100
Yeah,
years?
that's the other.
Oh man, my RuneScape
No.
account would be timed out.
I'm honestly I'm logging on and I'm typing in Counter-Strike Global Offensive into Google 100 years from now.
Oh God.
In 100 years, are there
Counter-Strike.
even keyboards? Like, or are you
Yeah,
just
probably
are you even
voice.
going to know you have access to the internet? Because it's like you're actually you don't even have the mechanism to access the internet because it's just
Yeah.
through your brain now.
That's a good point.
Question's blowing my mind.
Yeah, this is actually way deeper than I thought it would. Yeah. Again, like a lot of questions we get asked at
If you
first, we're
had
just
said
like, oh,
if you'd
that's
said
easy.
10 years, it would have been a lot easier. But 100, it's like I think about 100 years. What 100 years ago was 1916.
It's
like
fucking crazy.
the world was completely different.
Totally different.
100 years is an incredibly long time.
It's actually obscene. Like, oh my God, oh God, now you're really making me. Yeah. I mean, think about like the ecosystem, the Earth, global warming,
Jeez.
technology. Yeah. It's going to be crazy. Like,
Rapture is an actual place.
there were fucking herds of buffalo running the fucking around in 1916. Planes. Like, look at us now. All right, the cats are fighting. Hold on. But I'll be right back.
This is a really excellent question.
That is a good
Brad?
question. The mind wanders.
I'd probably spend my hour on Wikipedia.
Yeah, that'd definitely be one of the best sites to go on.
Yeah, I think
So,
I feel like you could easily go down that rabbit hole where Wikipedia deep links into other articles once you're in an article, and so you would just be seeing terms that you didn't recognize at all, and so you'd click into that term and you'd find out about all these various historical events that are in the future from now.
Yeah.
That would be pretty wild.
Someone in chat said, "Figure out who to invest in, like ahead of time."
You do always have the fraud aspect that some people go to. Immediately go to
And is it really
insider
fraud?
trading.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. That's a whole that's where this question gets crazy because like, is time travel actual fraud? I don't have an answer to that. Don't have an
I would
answer
look
to
up.
that.
I would look up Dark Souls 3 DLC review
Ugh.
and
Okay,
then
you know what?
see if my hype is well deserved.
You'd look up that specific Dark Souls 3 DLC announcement and see what they were talking about.
Yeah, I need to know. It's killing me. I can't wait.
I just came back, but we're still talking about Dark Souls in 100 years. I guess I can't say anything because I mentioned Counter-Strike, but of course we will.
Yeah, you don't want to see the major esports. Go see the esports earnings 100 years from now and see what it looks like.
God.
That'd be interesting.
That would be.
You wouldn't recognize any of the names, I'm sure.
No, probably not. Man, good question, though. That was a really good question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Damn. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it as far as the questions for this week. And we would definitely go to a podcast review. But the last couple weeks, or even last 3 weeks,
We've been barren.
we've been barren on the review side. And it's like, yeah, like people have been showing up. We've been having great numbers on the, just the viewership of the cast and even listening. But nobody wants to leave a goddamn review. And I'm getting sick of it, Brandon.
Yeah.
What do we have to do here? Do we have to offer a cash prize, a game code? Like, what do we have to do, people?
I
Just
don't
leave
know.
a review.
You would think the pure fame and opportunity at Fortune would be more
Yeah.
than enough incentive.
You want to talk about being immortalized in 100 years. If you get your review read on this cast, you have been immortalized. I mean, 100 years from now, people are going to type in KBMOD podcast. There's probably going to be, who knows? I mean, I'm guessing in 100 years, this cast will have blown up to the notoriety that it deserves, and we'll all be legends. So
That's true.
I mean,
that's true. In
I
100
get the
years,
review.
in 100 years, there will absolutely be at least one person who will go back and listen through all episodes of the podcast, and you will be immortalized in one of those episodes. So
Well,
it seems,
Grandpa was Volition, and he was part of a podcast. Man, you just imagine.
a lot of people in chat are saying they can't bring themselves to make an iTunes account, but you can literally just make an iTunes account, post once.
all right, you know what?
And be done.
Here are things I know. Out of all the people with a mobile phone, let's say roughly half of them have an Android phone and roughly half of them have an iPhone. All right, those are not exact numbers, but close enough. All right. So if you own, literally, you don't own any sort of iOS device, then fine, I get it, right? If you really don't want to make an iTunes account, I get it, that's fine. But if you have any sort of iOS device, you have no excuse. Because I know you have to have an iTunes account, and I know you have one, all right? I can see you there when you want to buy Pokecoins, right? You have to log in, okay?
Good point.
So
Great point.
you think you can get past me, but you can't. So I know that for most of you, you probably have some, you or your parents, you could probably borrow your parents' iTunes login, because I know 100% your parents are using Apple devices, because there's no way they could figure out an Android phone. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
I've run those numbers, all right, and that excuse does not check out for all but a small handful of you.
So 100 years ago, when people wanted to, be funny, like entertain people, they had to painstakingly, construct, like comedy sketches or like I imagine like, around like black and white films, they had to, think about that. Now, today, we're in an age where something like Dat Boy can entertain a nation. Can you imagine what memes are going to be like in 100 years on the internet?
So meta.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And think about how much joy you could bring with just a small review of our podcast. In 1916, they had no podcast reviews. You could entertain at most a theater of people, right? A small number of people with like a comedy sketch or something that you worked weeks or even months on. But here in 2016, you can entertain literally thousands of people with a small amount of effort by sending in a podcast review, and we do the rest of the work. So I don't want to say there people, with you that's like it is. It's frankly ridiculous that you wouldn't want to bring that kind of joy to people.
Keep in mind, we even read the ones that aren't funny.
Yeah, we'll sort through them. Like, I think a lot. You know what I think it is? I think a lot of people are scared of failing. Like, I think they think that if they submit, because there's sometimes you just maybe it's not good enough. I understand that
it's a gamble.
Better. But if you never try, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I believe Harambe said that right before they shot him dead. Okay, so if you don't want to listen to me, listen to Harambe, who's in heaven looking down on us, wishing that the last thing he had done was type on a goddamn keyboard and leave a review for this podcast. Okay,
and he has he has gorilla hands. It's way harder for him to type out a cogent review.
The odds that anything intelligible would have even come out from him banging against the keyboard, even for a million years, are very slim. But he wanted to leave a review, and he couldn't. So I don't know.
I don't always miss 100% of the kids you don't grab. That's a quote from Harambe. Listen, Harambe fan 420.
Wow.
Okay.
Hi.
Oh my. Oh. Wow. Well, I think we've made our point. Okay. I'm gonna say I think we've made our point here. Somebody leave a fucking review next week. Okay. That's all I'm gonna say. All right. And if that's all, clearly if we are in this state of frustrated about it to discuss Harambe, we need something. All right. So this has been episode 247 of the KBMOD podcast. Thanks again for listening, whether it was live or you're listening to it, the recorded version of the show. We appreciate it. We'll be back next week with episode 248. You can follow all our social media. Katie Zen is at KatieZen18. I am at APL Fisher. Brad is at Hutchison15. Volition at VOL1TION. And, of course, KBMOD.com for reviews. There's been a lot of content we've been saying the past couple of weeks. I can't stress it enough, though. Consistently, a lot of good content going up on the website. Obviously, use multi-stream if you want to watch multiple Twitch streams. I think that about covers our bases. Thanks again, guys. We will see you next week. Farewell.
Yatta!